Welcome to the Raptors trade show or the trade deadline show, live reactions and trade breakdowns. We have a doozy. Davion Mitchell is going to Miami to reinstate Heat culture, and PJ Tucker coming to the Raptors for the third time. Hold your horses, because I don't think PJ Tucker is going to be a really big part of what the Raptors do, but he's a really big part of the next 2.5 hours as the Raptors look to make one or two more really big moves. And the Raptors are not done. I said it yesterday. The Raptors are not done. They are not done. Okay. So it is important to realize that what the Raptors are doing right now is they are clearing up their books. Okay. And Davion Mitchell was not coming back. I told y'all that Davion Mitchell was not part of the freaking future plans for this team when I read that Esfandiar Barhani article in I think it was the Athletic or wherever he wrote it, where I was like, look, man, every single time that I've had an issue with a point guard with the Raptors, they have not stayed. Fred VanVleet, Dennis Schroeder, Davion Mitchell. Now, with Fred and Dennis, it became sort of personal. With Davion, it was more business. And the reason that Davion Mitchell doesn't work with Toronto is because you just have to really understand, you have to isolate what he does well with what he doesn't do well. The Raptors do recoup a second-round pick and cash considerations in that deal, which is important. They help the Heat out a little bit from their salary cap perspective. Davion makes a little less than PJ Tucker. But now you can actually shuttle off PJ Tucker. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do with PJ Tucker. Number one, you could definitely bring him in as an institutional knowledge, pass it on type of guy, solid veteran. PJ is a great dude. Really, someone who can really help spark some of the development for Jonathan Mobo, guys like that. But also, I think that he's a buyout candidate. If the Raptors don't move him in the next 2.5 hours, I really wouldn't be surprised to see him moving off to another team. So this could be very, very short-lived for PJ Tucker. The Raptors do need extra roster spot. I mean, they technically do a one-for-one swap, so they haven't touched the extra roster spot that they do have. But I think that it's really worth noting what the Raptors are doing now. Despite my best efforts, last night we were live streaming until 3:30. Shout outs to the 1,000+ people who were there at once. We had over 5,800 people viewing last night while we were live, which is really amazing, given that we pretty much started the live at 12:15 a.m. Insane. So after that deal, after the live, I thought I was going to sleep, get ready for the panel, get ready for this show. But of course, my team just traded for one of my favorite young players in the league, Brandon Ingram. So obviously I was restless and I drank an entire cup of coffee while I was doing the live. So I was wired. So I decided to put in some texts to people that I knew would know a little bit more about the situation than I would. And I would like to share some stuff that came back about Brandon Ingram. Again, this is not stuff that necessarily my God, my phone is going nuts. What's going on here? Jeez. Okay. This is not stuff that you're necessarily going to hear from a lot of people, but let me put it this way. Brandon Ingram is very happy to be in Toronto. Brandon Ingram is very happy to be out of New Orleans. I believe very strongly, at least the person said this 2 weeks ago. They said, I asked, would Brandon Ingram welcome a deal to Toronto? He said 100%. Just gave me that 100 emoji, 100%. He wants to be here, loves the organization, sort of studied it from afar. Brandon Ingram is a basketball junkie. This is a person who studies the league, understands the league. He probably knows the entire scouting report on Scotty Barnes right now. This is not a good situation for him in New Orleans. I think you're going to see a very different BI. And for the Raptors right now, what's going on? Whoa. What is going on here? What do you need me to say? Also, did I not put a live call-in link again? I'm so silly. I made the same mistake again. I forgot to put the call-in link, and now I can't change the description. So I'm going to drop the call-in link here. If anyone wants to call in and, help co-host this pretty much, have a conversation, etc., we can do that. Let me get on here. Bear with me for a second as I pin this comment. But overall, what came back was he's happy to be here. He welcomed the change. This was one of the places he actually wanted to go in a deal. He wanted to be here. I think he preferred this to Atlanta. That's me reading the tea leaves. I did not hear that he prefers Toronto to Atlanta, but I've heard that, he likes Toronto. I heard that 2 weeks ago. He said it himself that he likes Toronto as a city. And I think he's going to mesh immaculately with what the Raptors are doing. I think if you're looking at this from the Raptors perspective, you have a ton of assets right now to be able to go out there and make another move, which is very important when you think about the context of, are you trying to be competitive next year? 100%. Like you're trying to be a good team next year. Let me pin this message right here. And okay, perfect. So now the call-in link is pinned. So if anyone wants to call in and talk about this deal, or, we can talk about it. So from the Raptors perspective, I think you got an incredible talent who has a lot to prove. This is not a player who is just wanting to get paid and then he's going to be done with basketball. This is a player who I think over the last couple of years has sort of lost his joy for playing basketball in the New Orleans Pelicans system. I think the system, the coaching staff, the organization, everything has just been frustrating from David Griffin all the way down to Willie Green to playing with Zion. I think all of it is just a very frustrating situation for a dude who really cares about winning, really cares about perfecting his craft. And I think that you're going to see a version of Brandon Ingram that is going to make your mind dance. And I think that between Scotty and BI and whatever the third big piece is, I don't know what that third big piece is yet. We'll see. Maybe the Raptors consolidate some pieces to get that third piece. Maybe the third piece is on this team already and he just has to grow into it like a Grady Dick or an RJ Barrett. I think you're going to see a really competent big three, all of whom are all-star level players. I think the draft looms very large in our minds, all of us, thinking about how the Raptors won a whole bunch of games exhibiting these veterans. Well, I got news for you. 3 out of 4 of those veterans are gone right now. Davion Mitchell, you recouped the second-round pick. Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, you have recouped an all-star level player, in my opinion. We got Is Jace coming on. Is Jace, what's up?
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Wait, can you hear my mic or not?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's up?
What's up? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I saw the news breakout last night about BI and stuff. I honestly thought he was gonna go to Atlanta because it's usually like whenever Raptors are competing with like another team for like a player, it's always like, they kind of choose like the other team because I mean we're in Canada and stuff, but I guess that bias is kind of gone now, or maybe Raptors just overpaid or something. I don't know, but
Okay.
I think we gave fair value. I mean, it was just like it was a 2031 second, right? So that's not really like worth that much.
Mm-hmm.
And then
let me play something for anyone who hasn't seen this already.
What would you guys say is the best cities or spots?
Miami and LA, Toronto, New York, Toronto. It's a solid city. Great food. Yeah.
That's a dude who's dreaming of Toronto, bro. So here's the thing. I genuinely think that I've always said it. I've said it multiple times. There are players in this league that would push their ass to Toronto if the Raptors ever became a competitive organization, if they fixed their culture. This is why the Fred VanVleet saga in Toronto was so bad, because you had this kind of like malcontent locker room that was giving off all these terrible vibes and it's kind of treadmill projection. But when you get a player like Scotty Barnes, if he projects and becomes the type of player that I think he's going to be, every player wants to play with a guy like this. So I think Brandon Ingram is very happy to play here. I think I'd be remiss if I not mention that in 2019-2020, shot 6.2 3-point attempts on 39%. That's a really good 3-point shooter. I just want to be clear about that. If Darko can get him into 8 attempts per game at 38%, he's an all-star. He's
I
a
mean, he
lock.
kind of already did it quickly, didn't he? Like improve his 3-point attempt rate.
He did, and he's also he's doubled Scotty's attempt rate. He's upped RJ's attempt rate. If he can do the same thing with a player who actually can shoot, because BI can shoot. Like
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram's a good shooter. Okay. So, and I think he can tweak it. I think he'll be open to that. I think he'll tweak it a little bit and make it even more efficient. I just think that, you know, we have seen Darko perfect certain players, right? Whether you're talking Devin Booker, Desmond Bain, Mikal Bridges, he makes these guys better. But at some point, you do run into a wall when you're working with an Ochai Agbaji.
Yeah,
I mean, that's no disrespect to Ochai Agbaji, but Ochai Agbaji ain't Brandon Ingram. RJ Barrett ain't Brandon Ingram. Emmanuel Quickly ain't Brandon Ingram. When you're working with like a star talent like this,
like
there's
top
just
10
so
talent.
much more upside on what you can actually do. So if you take like, it's like if you take care of your car and it's a Toyota Prius, good luck. You know, like good job, but it's still a Toyota Prius. Like it's a really nice, clean Toyota Prius. But if you take the same care, oil changes, all that stuff, you know, if you take the same maintenance on a Ferrari, well, now it's a different equation, right? So it's like the habits and the culture that instill it works on everybody, right? If you had traded for Zion Williamson right now, I guarantee you get the best version of Zion. If you had traded for, you know, basically anybody, you're going to get the best version of everybody because that's what this organization does. If you draft Cooper Flagg, congratulations, you're going to get the best version of Cooper Flagg. This is a superpower. This is what stability does for you. It gives you like the amplifying effect of like, it's almost like if you look at 2K, it's like you get an instant like 100 chemistry badge and a +6 on potential. You know what I mean? So it is a cheat code. And I feel like a lot of people in the media, you know, and I understand people saying like, Rob, maybe this is not the time for victory laps and ego. But yo, you gotta understand, like I listened to the media tell me that Fred was the answer, Dennis was the answer, Davion was the answer. And I'm just pushing on the other end. And I feel like going 3 for 3 is a pretty hell of a thing to you know, pop some champagne over. So yeah, I mean,
with me, like the question I have is like I see the vision with the BI, I see the vision with Scotty, with Quickly. Like I see the vision how they can all play together and make each other better. I just don't know about like Yak and RJ. Like I feel like we need upgrades there. I think we need like a stretch 5 to like unlock. It's gonna like unlock everybody, and then I think we need like a wing defender. Or if I don't know if RJ can fit that role, but
so right now, if I look at the Raptors, there's 4 players on this team that are, I would consider them almost untouchable. Like you can buy their jersey and I guarantee you they're not going to move. Scotty, okay, that's 1. Jacoby, that's 2. BI, that's 3. Grady, that's 4. Emmanuel Quickly is borderline. Jamison Battle and Jonathan Mobile and Jamal Shed, borderline. Ulrich, borderline. Everybody else is negotiable. RJ, specifically Yak. Yakapur. So when I look at how Brandon Ingram likes to operate, I promise you the Raptors are not going to take away his mid-range package like they did with RJ. He's way too efficient in the zone. He's way too talented. What you have right now is you have 48 minutes of one of these 2 guys or both of these guys being able to do that. Now, what's cool is Brandon Ingram can carry a bench unit.
Yeah, he can.
So I think what the Raptors will sell him on is a 2-part vision. When we're starting you next to Scotty, we need you to be the spacing threat and get your threes up in that situation. We're going to put Scotty because he's just more physically kind of demanding. He's a better passer. So we're going to put him in that, you know, Jokic role with you being the Michael Porter Jr. in this deal. But when you when you leading a bench unit, we're going to need you to do that thing that Scotty really can't do, which is be Jamal Murray for us. We're going to need you to create in the pick and roll. We're going to need you to, you know, generate your own shot in the half court. And I think this is the best way to unlock these 2 players. And everything going forward right now, no disrespect to anybody else on this team, is built around Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram. Everything is built around their talents in the mid post.
Yeah, that duo.
The one way to unlock this is a stretch big.
Yeah, that unlocks everything now. Like
you must put a stretch big.
You're adding spacing to BI, to Scotty, to Quick, to RJ. Like that would literally unlock everything.
Facts. So the thing that Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes have never played with in the NBA right now is a really good stretch big who can actually protect the rim. Like they tried a little bit of it with Jonas Valanciunas taking some threes, and it looked okay. They've had moments of it with Larry Nance Jr., I guess, as a stretch big-ish. But if you want to get to the next level of this, you need Naz Reid or someone like that. You need Naz Reid or Miles Turner or something like that. Kamal Maluach, that Chet Holmgren archetype. So you need to find that player somehow. And then you need to give BI and Scotty that mid-post isolation opportunity with different lineups. And then you need things working around them. Grady is the perfect complement to Brandon Ingram. I can tell you right now, these two are going to have. Pardon?
He's coming off the bench now too, so we don't have to worry too much about like the defensive
Well, that's the point. When you run Brandon Ingram with a bench unit, Grady Dick and Brandon Ingram are going to be unstoppable. Jacoby plus Brandon Ingram plus that's going to be great. Anyways, let's hear from somebody else. Jace, Sean, what's up?
Good day, Rob. How was your sleep?
I slept for 2 hours.
That's 2 hours more than I did, my friend.
Dope.
I feel like I'm just going to be repeating a bunch of stuff anyways, but do you see a world? Okay, so obviously we've gotten worse with the trades that we just made, not significantly worse, but just kind of touching on what I was going.
In the very short term, yes.
Okay, so my point, or what I was talking to, I think his name is Raptors Man or whatever in the chat there, was that offloading those players isn't a guarantee that we're just going to stay at the bottom, right? I still think there's a world where the players that we lost today are replaceable with, I mean, I think me and you talked about it the first time that I called in, that we don't have any net negative players. Like we don't have a McDaniel, or we don't have someone that we can put out there right now and say that guy for sure is going to cost us a game. Right. So is there still a world, and I know because we already talked about it last night, there's still a world where we could make the play in or make the playoff. So I think it's just, there is a possibility that sure, we do stay at the bottom, but I don't think it's as much of a guarantee. Like some of these people are talking like we just unloaded Scotty Barnes, Yak, and RJ. Like, no, like, don't get me wrong, Bruce, Kelly, and Davion were helping us win in this little win streak we had. But let's not act like we just got rid of 3 of our best players, and this is a guarantee that we're going to bottom out now because of those trades, and that's kind of my point that I was making in the chat there was, I'm not saying the tank is off and this is a clear sign, but even if Brandon Ingram doesn't play, the skills that we lost, I mean, I feel like Shed already has pretty much, he's already even with Davion, maybe not even, but there's not a huge drop off there. So we pretty much canceled that out already. Kelly, I don't know if we have something that could replace him right now, but if we're just looking at 3-point shooting, all it takes is Grady to go on a little bit of a heater, or Oche to like play like he was at the start of the season. I don't think it's a guarantee that the guys that we unloaded today guarantee us a high lotto pick. Do you agree?
No.
You don't agree?
Well, okay, I'll agree with you that it's not a guarantee. Nothing is a guarantee.
Right.
But I would say that it is extremely unlikely that the Raptors made these moves with the play-in or the playoffs in mind.
I agree, but I'm saying it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could make the play-in with what they have on the roster.
I mean, it's also not out of the realm of possibility that I have a heart attack right now and die on screen.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You know me. I hope that they tank. That's still what I want to happen. But I think the first time I called in, we were talking, and I brought up Mobo, and you said, I think the difference in Mobo is instead of losing by 10 or by 2, they might have lost by 10, right? So I don't know, man.
I think when you try to implement a piece as large as Brandon Ingram, it helps to have, number one, him healthy.
Right.
He needs ramp up time. He hasn't played he hasn't done a contact drill in 2 months, or a month and 2 months. He hasn't been playing for 2 months. Now, partially he wasn't playing, I believe, because, I mean, honestly, what I'm hearing is he might be a little bit healthier than people realize right now. So they can ramp him up super slowly. They can sell him on the vision of, hey, look, this year we're kind of where we are, and we're gearing up for next season, and we want to hit the ground running. We want to do this summer. We want to re-implement you. We want to give you the entire summer with us? Are you in or are you out? And I believe all of these conversations happened before he got here,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
There's another, there's another thing about, the more you trade for a player, the Raptors didn't trade a hell of a lot. But the more you trade for a player, the more contract leverage that they have in a contract negotiation.
Right.
If the Raptors had dumped RJ Barrett plus 2 first-round picks for Brandon Ingram, I believe that Clutch Sports has like all the leverage here, because you just, from a PR standpoint, cannot afford to dump that much value and then not bring him back. So now they're like holding your feet to the fire, saying, give us 50 million. I think the Raptors will come somewhere south of 50 million, probably 45, probably 40, 35, somewhere in that range with BI. I'm pretty sure also that some of these numbers and figures have been pre-agreed to, at least as a framework. Like, people can renege. Obviously, nothing has been put pen to paper right now. He was with another team, but the Raptors have a good relationship with Clutch Sports, man. Clutch Sports gets a really bad rep. The Raptors have worked with them multiple times. They worked with them, on the Gary deal. They worked with them with Ulrich. They worked with them with Coloco. They've worked with Clutch plenty of times. Fred VanVleet signed with Clutch Sports,
Nick
if you
Nurse.
recall, and the Raptors made sure that Fred VanVleet was not traded to Milwaukee. So they are, I believe, that the Raptors are in Clutch's good books. And I
like I
believe,
said last night too, that you still have a ballpark of where you're looking anyways, just by what he rejected as far as what New Orleans offered him, right? So that's kind of your starting point.
well, I mean, no,
Unless he
because
really just wanted out of New Orleans, right?
he did.
Yeah, but do you think enough
So-
he's not going to be looking for the same money at least that he was looking for with them?
Well,
I think
he was looking for 50 million with them. I don't think he's looking. I mean, I'm not necessarily sure that he's looking for $50 million right now. And I think, if you're the Raptors, you could probably have talked to Clutch beforehand and say, we're not willing to go to 50 million. We love Brandon Ingram, but we cannot pay 50 million based on our current contract commitments. So would y'all be open to 40 million if we can get him to Toronto? And I think if Clutch is looking around the league right now, they would have already sourced out what the next home. Like, you got to understand, like, this from an agent perspective.
Mm-hmm.
They saw the writing on the wall for who can get paid what, where,
Right.
based on the money that's available. And I don't think there's another offer for Brandon Ingram out there. There's not a competing team that's going to come in. This is not like the Knicks with OG. Like, the Raptors read the tea leaves on OG, saw how much the Philadelphia 76ers and Knicks were going to drive up the price, and just said, shit, let's just move him to the Knicks right now, because Philly's going to come in strong, demanding $40 million for a rather one-dimensional offensive player, and we don't believe that OG Anunoby is worth $40 million. So, okay, you extract value there. You use some of that value potentially to get your third star now, but let's see what Brandon Ingram eventually settles into. I'm willing to bet that this conversation already happened and the Raptors already said no to the 50 million. So
Unless as well, if they talk to other, I don't know if that's necessarily
I'd just be
accurate.
disappointed.
But you brought up the
if
sign and
they-
trade last night too, right? So
yeah,
they could.
I mean, I think we can sort of move on from this and say, like, let's wait and see. But I am willing to, like, I will be so shocked if the Raptors give him 50 million. Like, I will be like, he's one of my favorite young players, but I would be like, honestly, shook if they give him 50 million.
That's not good.
I know the Raptors have a really bad track record of overpaying guys, like a really bad record, like one of the worst records in the league of overpaying guys. I understand there's a quote unquote Toronto tax that people have to pay, but overall happiness is what matters. Brandon Ingram has made a lot of money in his career. This is not about money right now. This is about basketball fit. It's also about money, because you got to think about what money represents to players. Money represents commitment, value, commitment, your place in the league. There's nothing more satisfying as an NBA player to open up the top salaries in the league and to see your name listed as one of the top 20, because that reaffirms your commitment to the game, the work that you put in. So much of this comes down to just respect. Take the Jimmy Butler situation as the emblem of what money means to a player when an organization like the Miami Heat come out and say, well, he's not worth that kind of money. You feel disrespected. I don't think the Raptors necessarily have to go down that road with Brandon Ingram, where they're saying, like, we don't think you're worth $50 million. You're not playing like an all-star. You haven't made an all-star, game in 4 years. You've been injury prone. Can we be real about this? I think they can just sort of float it out as, hey, we already have a max slot devoted to Scotty. We have these other two players. If you're going to fit in here and you want to be here and you don't want to get shipped off to friggin', some other team like Detroit or, Atlanta or someplace else that maybe you don't want to be as much, we're going to work with you to make that happen. We'll give up this first round pick, but we're going to need an agreement from you that you're going to be fair to us as well and maybe sign a little bit under what you were demanding from New Orleans. I believe he will take the offer that he rejected from New Orleans here. I believe he will take that offer with us.
Do you think?
Now,
remember last night you were saying about how many like rookie contracts we have and how many like young players aren't getting paid. Do you see a world where maybe they just overpay him just because they can? Because what's the difference going to be $5 million a year? At that.
I think what they
needle.
could do based on their current contract structure and based on the fact that they're bringing a first round pick this year, who will probably be very, very underpaid for the first 4 years of their Raptors tenure, is they can front load his contract. So they can give him his money now, which actually is very beneficial. If you understand anything about money, the time value of money says that the more money you get now, the better for you. So they can front load his deal starting at 45, and then it can descend down to about 38. Anyways, Jeff, what's up?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you think he just takes like a 2-year deal structure like Jimmy Butler did?
Not a chance.
Not a chance, huh?
I don't want to say not a chance. I think the negotiation starts at 3 years and it ends at 4 years.
True. And then I was also going to say, I know a lot of people, like some people don't like the trade, but people were begging for like an Ace Bailey. I think BI is better than Ace Bailey today. And there's no guarantee that Ace gets as good as BI is even today.
Okay, I need to ask you this question. Let's just say Brandon Ingram pulls, like one of those scams and shows up to BYU or something right now as a walk-on freshman. Okay.
Oh man.
And people believe that he's actually a freshman, and he gets into a game in Division I. How many points a game do you think he's averaging?
He's going number one.
Okay, number one. He's going number
he's
one.
Fighting. He's fighting Cooper Flag for number one pick. Yeah, this year.
He's not fighting Cooper Flag. He is like he's like the best. He's like the best college basketball player that you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
What I'm asking is, how many points do you think he would average in Division I basketball if he got into the game right now?
I mean, look at what this guy Trey Johnson throwing 30 points every other night. Like BI's putting up 40 if he wants to.
Bro, he's averaging 50.
40
if he wants to, right? Like I say, he could be putting up 40 and 10 assists and like.
Bro, I think if he wanted to in Division I basketball, I think he could average 60.
He'd be Wilt Chamberlain of
but the thing is, he'll probably do it in like 25 minutes. Like it'll just be super uber efficient. It'll just be effortless. There's
hardly one player in the NBA that can stop him one-on-one. There's no player in Division I basketball that can stop Brandon Ingram. Like I don't think people understand how good this guy is, but in a one-on-one situation, like we gotta see it from this perspective. Look at what Scotty's doing right now with the Raptors, right? He's struggling, right? The last few games because he doesn't have a lot of help, right? So a lot of games where Brandon Ingram has played, he's been geared up as a number one name on a scouting report. He is the number one player on the scouting report. When Zion's not playing, and Zion's missed a considerable amount of time. When Zion is playing, he's still like 1 or 2 on the scouting report. Like he is really up there. And there were questions last year whether he was the Pelicans' best player, even when Zion was playing, when he was a little bit out of shape. So what I'm saying is, if you can deal with NBA defenses gearing up to stop you as the number one option, you could do anything you want in Division I basketball.
No doubt. My next question. So then, okay, our 2025 first round pick. What are the odds that player is even a starter for us next season? Obviously, it depends where we draft, who we draft. Let's say we draft top 10.
I don't know. Depends on who it is. If it's if it's Kaman Malawach, maybe. I mean, is Jakob Poeltl still on the team? I don't think that matters. I'm gonna be honest. Like if I'm a top 10 pick and I'm starting behind Grady Dick, I might have an issue with it. Granted, he was a lottery pick as well. But if I'm starting behind, if I'm a wing and I gotta play behind Scotty and BI, I understand that. If I'm Ace Bailey and I got to come off the bench because Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes are here. Now, I do think that it's worth noting that wings in the top 5 are probably not going to be super enamored to come to Toronto.
Right.
Because they have a glut of wings and agents are seeing the writing on the wall, and it does help, that there's actually a place for the player to play. does not stop the Raptors from drafting a wing regardless, because they think he's the best player available, and then maybe moving off of RJ or somebody else. But I do think that it's worth noting that, you know, it's the bigs who will want to come here. It's the Kaman Maluach and, you know, potentially the Cooper Flags and guys like that. You know, Derek Queen, guys like that, that I think they're probably licking their chops saying, like, shit, I can really fit in here. A lot of stuff, like, especially when you're talking about players who really want to be good basketball players and want to play in a system where things work to their strengths. I think the players who would like that are selfless players who like to pass the basketball, who like to play team basketball. Like, you're sort of like setting this up to be a haven for basketball junkies, like players who are like, you know, Puritan of the game. So I think Yegor Demon, you know, and I know the stock has fallen a lot. That kind of makes sense for the Raptors right now as well. If they fall further in the draft, like, I think he's a player who connectively could be really big part of a second unit. Also, you know, a lot of physical development to be done. So maybe he's a further out. I feel like you do have an abundance of wings, versatile wings that can play make and shoot a little bit, but you have a dearth of rim protection, bigs.
What
and
about like a
dynamic
pure
guards.
point guard like Dylan Harper? Would that be a good fit? 'Cause I don't see Quickly as like a pure point guard in a sense. He's more like he's just like a guard. Like, he can play point, like, but it's not like he doesn't have that vision as like a point guard, right? Like an actual point guard. Like, he can get some advantages, you know, create some advantages a little bit here and there, but not like fully, right?
I think he's a guard. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think he's a guard. Anyways, Death 4K, what's up, man? You were next up.
How's it going, Rob?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. I had some stuff yesterday, but I was listening to the live, and I don't want to repeat a lot of what was said, but I agree with most of it. I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I was looking at with the Pelicans and how Zion and Brandon Ingram, like, what led to this decision even happening. And I wanted to get your opinion on how well you think Brandon Ingram is going to be able to adapt to Scotty Barnes, because I know you stated yesterday that you think Zion is a better player than Scotty if when healthy, but a lot of their game kind of combines. And I think Brandon Ingram would have to make a significant change to his shot diet to fit and meet some of the stuff you were saying yesterday. Would it not?
He will make a significant change. Like, Brandon Ingram is a chameleon. Like, he has shown the ability to be a different player in different lineups. When you need him to be, you know, a shot creating isolation wing, that's what he is. When you need him to play off the ball a little bit, that's what he is. I really think that he hasn't really played with a playmaker like Scotty since Lonzo.
Right.
I mean, no disrespect to CJ McCollum. He's barely a point guard. He's not a point guard. So DeJounte Murray, he's all right, but he's not Scotty Barnes. So a player like Scotty is going to find Brandon Ingram for the most open shots that he's seen since Lonzo got traded. And I do believe that Lonzo was a huge part of why Brandon Ingram was a star player and an all-star. I think he's a huge part of it. So from my perspective on this, I feel like it's a very familiar fit for BI. I think he's very adaptable to it. I don't think he's DeMar DeRozan in the sense that, like, I'm not going to take threes. I'm not going to take threes. I also don't think he's DeMar DeRozan in the sense that he can't make threes at a high clip. His shot form is not broken. He is a good shooter. He's relatively been around 35, 36, 37. It's just the volume hasn't been high enough.
Well, that 6.8 attempt season that he had, if he goes back to that hypothetically,
was it 6.8 or 6.2?
It was 6.2 or 6.8. But
okay,
his shot diet with Lonzo was much higher than it was after they lost that playmaker with the ball in his hand. And if he goes back to that, is he going to be able to hypothetically fit and mesh well with RJ and Scotty?
The RJ and Scotty thing is a little bit more complicated. The Yak and RJ thing is a little bit more complicated. I think if you're looking for natural synergies, the most natural synergy for on this team with Brandon Ingram is going to be Grady.
Okay.
And Jacoby. They're going to play very, very well off of him. They're the types of players that do well with him. Jordan Hawkins, the archetype is a movement shooter who is like presents a moving target. I think the gap here will be for Brandon Ingram to reclaim some of his Michael Porter Jr.-ness as a catch and shoot corner three-point shooter, above the break guy, a guy who can get his own shot, a guy who can attack closeouts, is beastly attacking closeouts. I think where Darko can come and help him really is to make him even more efficient around the rim. It's obviously very big, very long, presents a ton of advantages, right? And I just feel like if I'm Darko, I'm having a conversation with Brandon Ingram literally right now, and I'm saying, do you want to be the player that you envision yourself to be 5 years ago? When you were watching those Michael Jordan highlights, those Kevin Durant highlights, when you were studying that game film, when you were soaking, dripping wet from from sweat in a practice, 4 hours early, 3 hours early, when you were envisioning being one of the best players in the league, do you want me to help you become that player? And if he says
I do
yes,
think it's worth mentioning that he has gotten better in some aspects in these last 5 years. Like, he was a lot weaker physically
he's
5
gotten
years
a lot
ago,
stronger. I agree.
and he fell in love with how the defenders were just bouncing off of him, and that's kind of what led to the problems with Zion. Is what I heard a lot of in a lot of like New Orleans, subreddit and Twitter yesterday. It's just them just saying it's never going to work because Brandon Miller just wants to be like Kevin Durant, and that's basically what they're trying to say. And
Brandon Miller? You mean Brandon Ingram?
Brandon Ingram. But I wanted to also ask you, because I'm also in for the fact that they're not going to go for this year as a winning season, but like I think next year is when they would actually start trying.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes sense based on what Masai has done so far, but just offloading the team.
Sure.
That's why I'm saying that Scotty Barnes would be more of a connector. What would he have to do, like, in terms of making it work and them going back into the realm of being a above 500 team?
What do you mean?
Just from a Scotty perspective.
What would who need to do? Brandon Ingram?
Scotty Barnes. Because I know Brandon Ingram, we've been talking about this for the last 24 hours, or not even, but like he would have to go back to being a high volume 3-point shooter, right?
Sure.
Movement wise, I don't know what we would have to see from RJ Barrett, but really the question mark here is what would Scotty have to do to make it all work? Because it's his team, right?
I don't think Scotty has to do anything. Honestly, I think Scotty needs to keep being himself. I think, if you're looking at this from the perspective of like, does Scotty's shot diet change materially? I think he'll have a few more catch and shoot opportunities. I just think when you're generating an advantage, it really does help to have somebody who can really, really generate their own advantage, and you can benefit off of each other. Like, great players play off each other. There's a reason why I've wanted Scotty with guys like Levine in the past, or even Lowry Markkinen. Now, again, BI's younger than those guys. That helps. But put talent with talent and let them figure it out. I've been a big proponent of that. It's kind of my philosophy on the Jimmy Butler trade to the Warriors is you're putting talent with talent. Jimmy Butler is a great player. Draymond Green's a great player. Steph's a great player. They're going to figure it out, right? Sometimes they don't figure it out and it's a little bit clunky, but when it comes to figuring it out, it usually comes down to commitment. How committed are you to making this work? And how committed are you to, staying your own way and kind of being stubborn about it? I think Brandon Ingram will be committed to making it work. And I think Scotty will be committed to making it work. Scotty's a very easy player to play off of. Every great player would benefit playing off of him. De'Aaron Fox would have done beautifully with him. So in terms of like how materially different is Scotty's shot chart going to be? I mean, his threes are already goddamn wide open and he's breaking them all, right? So you kind of look at that from that perspective. Who's more malleable here? Whose skill set bends to changing too much, right? And what I said earlier in this live was that I feel like there will be two Brandon Ingrams. There will be the Brandon Ingram that plays with Scotty Barnes, and then there will be the Brandon Ingram that plays without Scotty Barnes. The Brandon Ingram that plays with Scotty Barnes will space. He will provide tremendous amount of space for Scotty as the 3-point attempts go up, and there'll be clean 3-point attempts because teams will have to choose on the weak side which of these two players, or the strong side, which of these two players you're going to leave. That's hard. That's a really hard thing to do. Without Scotty, I think he morphs into Scotty. He can be that player, except unlike Scotty, he has a deeper bag and he has more shot making chops right now to be able to do some of the stuff that Scotty's really struggling with. And your hope is that by next year, Scotty is even better at doing some of that stuff so that you have two demons. You know what I mean? You have two guys who can get their shot in the half court. You have two guys. And I also think Brandon Ingram will be very much really good in transition as well in Toronto. So, yeah.
What about the synergy, like character wise? Like, do you have like a deep down, like kind of like an intrinsic, like knowing like his I don't know if he contributes to culture or like how he is, like personality wise? Have like any deep insights into that or no?
Sure. I mean, I know somebody who's pretty connected with him, and I think he's a great person. He's a great person. I think, there's never been anything that I can ever look back on and say, yeah, he's really selfish, or yeah, he's a character problem, or he's really hard to get along with, or anything like that. I mean, he's had issues, obviously, with the coaching staff and stuff, and fitting into that situation over in New Orleans. But I feel like a lot of people have had issues with New Orleans. How they run their organization, how the coaching staff sort of operates, and I feel like, being removed from a situation like New Orleans with the Zion controversy every week, right? And you have a head coach and you have a star player already here who are accountable. Not Zion, not, playing the friggin', how hard it is to care about basketball as much as Brandon Ingram does, and then to play with a player who comes into training camp 320 pounds every other week.
Yeah, that's probably
that kills you. That zaps your joy for basketball so hard. So I mean, we saw Scotty in year 2, and his joy was somewhat zapped, right? Okay, does someone have some sort of interference going? Like I'm really sensitive to these noises, and I'm hearing like a little bit of an echo of myself. Does someone have me on YouTube going, or is someone not on speaker?
I'll try to mute myself. Maybe it's me. I'm not sure, but
I'm muted whenever I'm not talking.
Let's see. Yes, it was you. Okay. So yeah.
I'll
Anyways,
just mute whenever I don't talk then.
do you just not have a speaker?
No, I have it, but it's like and it never supposed to echo. Like, I don't know why you're hearing echo. Like, this is like my regular setup. It's not supposed to echo right now, but I don't know. Is it echoing stream or no?
Do you have headphones?
No, I'm just using it through the computer audio, but it's not supposed to echo because my
So if you don't have headphones, then how would it not echo?
No, because
you have to
through
use
my mic. I don't know if it's the same as Discord, but it's like not supposed to echo.
Okay. Well,
Maybe
you need.
a different type of technology they use for this StreamYard.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just mute for now then.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, it's a heads up to anybody who's calling in. It makes for a very, very uncomfortable listen if you don't have headphones on. So definitely have headphones, or yeah, like, anyways, I've lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
Basically his motor, Brandon Ingram motor.
Yeah, like I think, again, we saw Scotty Barnes in year 2, chemistry, culture. We saw him sulking a little bit. Things were not good. I think Brandon Ingram is the same. I think you just basically traded for another sort of player who's, I don't want to say quitting. I don't say he quit on the Pelicans. I don't want to say that. I just think he wasn't happy. I 100% know for a fact that he was not happy there. And he is very happy to be in Toronto. So a motivated, happy, talented 27-year-old former All-Star is coming to Toronto, and he's coming to a system that is pretty much tailor-made for him to thrive. I'm not saying this 100% works. I'm saying it's a risk. That's why I gave it a B- yesterday. But the version of this that works is an A+++++++. There are certain deals that have upside. There are certain deals like Jakob Poeltl, where it's like, okay, there's like limited upside and there's very limited downside. Like with the Jakob Poeltl trade, when you traded for him, I would say, like, I think I gave it a D, or I don't know, C-, something like that. It didn't have a potential to be an A+. There's no way that the Jakob Poeltl trade could ever be a B+. It could either be, an A+. It could either be like a B-, or it could be like an F. And it's trending more towards like D, right? With Brandon Ingram, yeah, sure, it could be an F. Indiana pick turns into a lottery pick. Brandon Ingram gets hurt, doesn't mesh with Scotty, creates weird vibes. The offense doesn't work. Okay, yeah, now it sucks, right? There's an F.
Well, I mean, I don't think so, because like even if we look at Brandon Ingram as an expiring, I don't think Raptors would have paid Bruce Brown. One.
Bruce Brown's irrelevant in this.
And like if he was to stay,
Mhm.
and Kelly was a contract that was overpaid. I think you've stated already. We would have wanted
Right.
to move off
So-
that anyways.
So if you traded a Indiana 2026 first round pick for nothing, then that's an F. If Brandon Ingram leaves, this is an F. I'm just telling you right now, he's not leaving. I promise you, he's not leaving. There's no world.
I mean,
in
you're
which the
trading
Raptors are
for the
losing him
chance.
nothing.
Like even if he were to leave, I'm not saying he's going to, but like Indiana is going to be a late pick from, I think almost
You don't know
everyone.
that. You don't know that. It could be a late lottery pick all the way up to like 24. You don't know that. So guaranteed, the Indiana pick is somewhere between 7 and 24, somewhere in the range. If you're a Raptor fan who's a little bit petty, you're probably hoping it's 24. If you're a Raptor fan, if you're an Indiana fan, sorry, if you're a
late
Pelicans
teams.
fan, yeah, if you're a Pelicans fan, you're hoping it's like top 10. And I
What
mean,
I'm
it's
trying to
also
say
it's
is,
all
like-
hold on, it's also worth noting the Raptors are in the same conference as the Indiana Pacers. They play them 4 times, and I believe that the Raptors can actually beat the Pacers next year if Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes are healthy. I think they can whoop that team. So it's also worth noting that the Raptors' ascension is also going to hurt the Indiana Pacers. So there's a chance it's a lottery pick. It's totally a chance it's a lottery pick. There is an upside on that. David Griffin is not an idiot. Like, I mean, the organization, the New Orleans Pelicans, maybe, but I have agreed with the Pelicans every single draft decision for a long time. Hawkins, Messi, Trey Murphy. I've loved all their draft. Dyson, like I'm 1-1 with their front office in terms of their decision making on that stuff. The culture, the coaching, that's totally different. But yes, there is a chance that it turns into a lottery pick. And if at the same time that turns into a lottery pick and it turns into a good player and Brandon Ingram is not working in Toronto, I think people are going to hate this deal. But there's also a version of this that is an A+. And I'm just saying that this has a lot of boom and bust potential, which is why I said whoever makes this deal has to have balls of steel. Because this is not like, oh, we traded Bruce Brown for, Caleb Martin and a second round pick. Like there's no A+ outcome in that deal. It's just either it's a C or a B or a D. It's just there's no upside on that deal that makes it like franchise altering. You know what I mean? Like with the Pacers, like when they traded for Pascal, there's a chance that deal could have fell through. Pascal gets there, he's not happy. He reneges on the contract. He leaves. You gave up 3 first-round picks for nothing. You're pissed. That's an F. But Pascal Siakam reclaims his All-NBA form, and he's really good through the contract. That's an A+. You gave up very little for that. That's what I'm saying. When you trade for a player of this talent, this magnitude, and you give up this little, there's a really, really good chance for an A+. There's no chance for an A+ for the Dallas Mavericks on the Anthony Davis trade. Even if they win a championship, it's not an A+. It'll at best be a B. At worst, it'll be an F. That's kind of how I see it. Yeah. Lane, what's up?
Yo, OH.
BI, what's up?
Nothing much. I think
That's just staying now.
got to. I'm really interested in the PJ Tucker trade because he will not be a Raptor past today, regardless if he's bought out or he's redirected. But that $11.5 million plus some second round picks, could that potentially bring another young piece to this team?
Yes.
That's what I'm looking at right now. I'm going through trade finders. I don't think he can get you.
Add Chris Boucher to it.
So you're thinking a $20 million type of player?
22.
Who do you have?
Now, again, okay, so it's worth noting here that the Raptors' major incentive of moving off of guys like Chris, Kelly, Bruce, etc., is because they're clearing up space to pay Brandon Ingram, right? So
Right.
PJ and Chris are probably going to go for this is the weird part, right? Because what you need right now is expirings, and what you're
Yes.
offering is expirings.
Yes.
The difference is what What Chris Boucher offers is that he's actually a pretty good player and an expiring. So what you need right now is dead weight, like a total albatross. And those contracts just don't exist right now in the NBA. A dead weight expiring doesn't exist. The issue with taking a dead weight with 2 years is that now you run into major luxury tax implications because now everyone knows you have to move that contract to pay Brandon Ingram. So what I would do if I was the Raptors is I would probably look at
Buy
teams.
up Tucker and just
No, I would look at a team that is looking to move off of expirings, right? But a lot, but a larger number on expiring. So let's say there's a player or a sum of players that equal 30 million, right? And I can give you $23 million of expiring money between Chris Boucher and PJ Tucker for $30 million of expiring money. And I'll just buy out whoever the hell you send me. And you'll give me either a young player or draft capital in that deal.
It sounds
That's
like
how I would look.
It sounds like you're talking about Chris Middleton right now. So it sounds like to me.
Chris Middleton is not expiring.
31. He has a player. Never mind. Ooh. Yeah, no. He's for sure picking that up.
Chris Middleton, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram. What the fuck would we be trying to do?
Well, I meant as like a buyout potentially, but I didn't see he had the player option.
Well, if you know for sure, like, okay, yeah,
Malcolm Brogdon maybe. I mean,
is he
I don't
expiring?
think he is.
But this is where the caveat comes. The team you're looking for is either an apron team or a luxury tax team.
Yep.
There needs to be incentive to do this. The the Washington Wizards have no incentive to trade for Chris Boucher. So I think the team that you could be looking at. Okay, let me pull up.
Hear me out. There's a guy named Bruce Brown down in New Orleans. Should go get him.
Bruce Brown, you're going right back. Bruce is like, God damn it, I just got off my horse. Is anyone else happy to see Bruce Brown go? I'm personally thrilled. Like, I'm a little bit sad about Kelly going. I like Kelly a lot. I mean, I thought he was overpaid, so I'm kind of happy that contract is off our books. But I like Kelly. But among the 3 players that were traded, there is only one player that I actually had any affection for in my heart, and that was Kelly. I had zero care or fucks for Bruce Brown. And while I respect Davion Mitchell, I really give a shit less that he's off this team. So I'm kind of there right now.
Yeah. So here are all the players on expiring deals. And then I'll say if they have a player option or club or whatever.
Where are you looking? Just so I can pull it up on the screen as well.
I'm looking on Spot Rack. SPOTRAC.
Yeah, I know what Spot Rack is, bro. Okay, yeah. So where specifically are you just looking at? Do they have a page where it says like expiring contracts?
Yep. I searched up expiring NBA contracts, and they were the first thing that came up. Unless you're gonna go do the whole Ben Simmons thing with Brooklyn, but like you said, they have no incentive to get that done. I don't see a world in which this is possible for the Raptors.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see a world. I don't think the Hawks are moving off of Clint Capella, especially because they don't own their pick. Like, they have no incentive to bottom out whatsoever. Like, that's what makes a bunch of my friends. I live in Ohio. A bunch of my friends are Cavs fans, and they're really hoping for DeAndre Hunter. And it's like, I don't think it's going to happen because they have no incentive to bottom out. They have to compete this year. They have to keep their pick.
Well, is this kind of where you're at right now? NBA free agents?
Yep, that's where I'm at.
Cool. So LeBron James, no. Fred VanVleet, no. Kyrie Irving, no. Ben Simmons, no. James Harden, hell no. Brandon Ingram, no. Can't trade him for himself. Okay. Chris Middleton, but he has the player option.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That was my
Julius Randle is an option.
He has a player option too, though.
Shit, never mind. John Collins,
player
they have
option.
No incentive.
Yeah.
Brooke Lopez.
I don't think the Bucks are going to trade their center. They do not have a lot of front court help other than Giannis and Brooke.
Clint Capella.
I don't see the Hawks wanting to bottom out. They have no reason to. They're the Spurs own their pick regardless.
Okay, so here's my question for you. Clint Capella for Jakob Poeltl, and they give you draft assets.
That would confuse the hell out of me. I don't
Why?
know. I don't know what draft assets they have to give, but I think that's a lateral move for a player who fits you worse.
Clint Capella is not a great player right now.
Yeah,
Jakob Poeltl is a notably better player than him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it makes a lot of sense for the Raptors, right?
Sure.
If draft assets were where we were at, we're not trading Indiana's first and a second round pick for Brandon Ingram, right? Obviously, they're trying to contend next year. I think Jakob gives you a much better chance of contending.
Okay.
That's where the whole Malcolm Brogdon thing comes into it. In my opinion.
Let me throw you a curveball. Chris Boucher for Naz Reid, and we toss in a first round pick.
And on the pick, I do it in a heartbeat.
And a pick and a pick swap.
If we're talking a 2027 top 6 protected, yes. Yes.
Probably a 2026.
2026 top 6 protected. I'll do anything for a top 6 protected, other than our pick this year.
Did last year not give you PTSD on top 6 protections? I need at least a top 8, bro.
I
need a little bit more control over
I don't
this.
think for the next 2 years we're anything less than a first round exit. At worst.
I don't want to say at worst because I don't think that's true, but sure.
That's my opinion. I'm very confident in this. I'm very confident in this team as it's built right now.
Yeah, so I mean, as we're looking, there aren't a lot of teams that have the type of contract that the Raptors really want here, which is an expiring, right? There just aren't. And I'm pretty sure Duncan Robinson has a player option too. Am I right? Let me look at this. Duncan's got, yeah, he's wait, what? Early termination option, ETO. Is that a player option?
PTO.
ETO.
ETO. Never heard of that. Let me Google it.
Early termination option, yeah. So his 2025, 2026 is $9.8 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed 2 days after the moratorium ends. And that is this summer. So he's only partially guaranteed. I got you. This is the same type of deal that Jonathan Isaac had. Okay, so he's got an early termination option. Okay, I could see the Miami Heat potentially wanting to move off this money for Chris Boucher. Now the Raptors just did a deal with the Heat, so I don't understand why the hell they would not include it in the same deal.
I was about to say, I think that ship's already sailed. We've already talked to him.
Okay.
Potentially. Right? I mean, Luke Kennard makes a lot of sense. But what is Memphis's incentive to move off of Luke Kennard? Probably not much, right? That's why the Naz Reid thing makes so much sense to me. If Naz Reid is your backup big on this current team, healthy as is, holy shit.
Has Luke Kennard been starting all year for Memphis?
I think he's split between the injuries, but I know he's been efficient as hell.
Because, I mean, you know, they're missing Desmond Bane right now. They've got a lot of depth. I mean, I'm wondering if are they let me just see, like, who is.
He is currently shooting 47% from 3.
Okay, team tax. Let's see here.
He's shooting more field than he is from 3. That's insane.
I got you. Okay, so Memphis is not in any financial trouble at all.
No.
They have the exact same salary. They are below the luxury tax. They have no incentive to take on that deal unless it is to set up another deal. The teams that need to really manage their cap right now in terms of luxury tax space: Cavaliers, Miami Heat, Dallas Mavericks.
Cavaliers make a lot of sense for me for Chris Boucher. They need that front court help because other than Mobley and Allen, they don't have much. And with that, Mobley's learning how to be a stretch. Allen is a non-shooter. So adding another guy in that front court off the bench who can come off can stretch the floor for you could be very beneficial. However, I mean, are we really that big on Karis LeVert? Right? Like, that's what they're offering is Karis LeVert.
Mm-hmm. Karis LeVert is awesome.
Karis LeVert has been terrible this year.
What?
He's been absolutely terrible. He does cardio every other night.
Karis LeVert has been terrible? Define terrible. What's been terrible about him? Granted, I haven't watched him in like a month, so
he's shooting
he's shooting 40% from 3, 45% from the field. He's got 2.3 win shares. What are we talking about? Terrible.
I swear, every time I watch him, he puts up a goose egg. I literally watched the Cavs game the other night. He was out there for 18 minutes, was like 0 for 5, 0 points. Okay, well, I guess not. Maybe not. But
He is shooting a career high in 3-point percentage.
what's his contract?
He was in the running for sixth man of the year. He's shooting a career high effective field goal percentage. This is a very, very, very interesting time to reevaluate the fact that you should not trust the 1 or 2 game sample size. You just basically made the same mistake I made with Grady Dick. His box plus minus is 1.2. This is the second highest mark of his career. Yo, he's balling.
Okay, never mind then. I take that back. I don't know why everyone's talking shit about him. What's his contract? Because they want to move off him. They're trying their hardest to move off of Karis LeVert.
People saying low usage. Yeah, he's low usage. That's a good thing. You're playing as a team's 5th best player or 6th best player. That's a good thing to be 18% usage.
That's on me. That's on me. Oh,
double accountability. Okay, so but I do appreciate you, Lane, because like I swear to God, someone else would just be like sitting up here trying to convince everybody that 40% 3-point shooting ain't that great.
That's on me. I absolutely know.
So Boston, I don't think they're doing anything. New York, okay, Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson for Jakob Poeltl. Now, no, they can't do that because then they take more money. So it would have to be Mitchell plus Precious Achiuwa coming back. They're not doing that.
Karis LeVert, I'm talking myself into this Karis LeVert thing right now. It's $16 million this year, free agent next year.
Okay, so Karis LeVert is not the type of player that you just throw away. Like I guess
they are trying to throw him away as hard as they can.
Who told you that?
The Cavs. He has been in every single trade offer that they tried to make. They tried to throw him away for Cam Johnson. They tried to throw him away for DeAndre Hunter, right?
You know what? You know what? But do you know what DeAndre Hunter and Cam Johnson have in common? They're better than Chris Boucher.
Better than Chris Boucher, but if you can throw in Boucher and
think about what you're saying here.
Yeah.
You're trying to bring a wing who overlaps almost every single thing that RJ Barrett does into a team that already has one too many players at that position. Like, what are we trying to do to Grady?
But
Dick?
none off the bench.
Like Grady Dick is about to wake up and be like, I started my night last night as the starter of the team and the shooting guard of the future. I had one bad game and they moved me to 3rd string.
Right, but think about a front court off the bench. I mean, what is it? Jamison Battle, Mobo.
The only reason you do this Karis LeVert deal is to shuttle Karis LeVert off to a contender. And I promise you there's a contender out there who could use a Karis LeVert. He's playing out of his mind this year. And he's playing out of his mind because he's in a contract year, FYI. And they probably have no intention of. And the reason they want to move him right now is because they know that they can't afford him next year. So they do want to move him, but not for the reasons that most people probably think. They want to move him because this summer he'll probably command $25 million, and they're already capped out with Evan Mobley's extension kicking in. So this is the reality of why they have suffered so much in terms of like recently. Like they started out on pace for like 74 wins. Lately, they've kind of come back down to earth. And I think part of it is because they're realizing that there's a price to success. You have to pay these guys. And I think everyone's kind of looking around saying who's going to be moved. And the trade deadline is a little bit uncomfortable for any team that's super connected. I've mentioned that before. But yes, Karis LeVert can be moved and should be moved, but it's only because ultimately they're trying to get a player of his talent level that's locked into a longer term deal, as opposed to risking him running free agency this year and being one of the best small forwards available. That's my read on that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. I think, not to get in the Cavs talk, but I think it's eventually going to come down to them having this side between Mobley and Allen. Fortunately, I mean, because Garland and Mitchell are off the table. They're not getting rid of either of those guys. Sure. But, I mean, they're going to see the roster crumble around them. I mean, Dean Wade's not enough to hold it up. I don't know. I'm a little less optimistic on their future than a lot of people are.
The Cavs?
Oh, Atlanta Hawks are trading DeAndre Hunter to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Karis LeVert, Georges Niang, and 3 second-round picks. There you go. That's gone.
I'm glad we were talking about it because it literally just happened. That's amazing. Okay, so
I knew they were trying to. I told you they were doing everything in their power to get him the hell up out of there.
Okay, so there's the deal. DeAndre Hunter to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Karis LeVert, George Niang, and three second-round picks. To be clear, this is an indication of how the Cavaliers feel about Karis LeVert. And this is also a fallout from the fact that they missed out on Brandon Ingram. They believe, for their purposes, that Karis LeVert is a better player than DeAndre Hunter, as evidenced by the pick equity coming back, right? Now, George Niang, I believe, is a longer-term contract, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe he has 2 more years left on his deal, but it's not any substantial money. Like, it's movable.
Take a look at this for a second. Cleveland. George Niang is making $8.5 million.
Yeah. 3-year, $25 million deal he signed this past offseason.
So that gets you off of that. That's amazing.
It's not unmovable, though. But
I didn't say it's unmovable.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, for the Cavs' perspective, as a smaller market team
100%.
who has Evan Mobley's extension kicking in next year, you have to look at this and say George Niang ain't worth it. We can get a second-round pick, from a 4-year player out of college, like a Jameson Battle type of guy, a 5-year player. This is the last year of the 5-year deals with college basketball. So the 5-year eligibility rules. So yes, I think that they have enough, and they clearly wanted to move off that Niang money. And all those picks are basically to move off Niang, because I think Karis LeVert for DeAndre Hunter is pretty lateral, personally. And honestly, DeAndre Hunter has basically been balling out of his mind. So I really don't understand this move from the Hawks' perspective.
Neither do I.
At all.
You don't have
you
to
gave up picks. You might have given up the better player.
Yep.
Honestly, like I think I'm inclined to say Karis LeVert is probably a little bit better than DeAndre Hunter, but I'm not sure by how much. This is a move to make a move. I feel like this is a move just to make a move. It's also worth noting that the DeAndre Hunter also has a long-term deal.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on this. I don't know why it makes sense for the Hawks to do any deals right now that involve Hunter, Capella, any of those guys. You have to make the play-in this year, at least the play-in, to justify the season. If you're handing the Spurs a lottery pick, and I don't care if it's the 11th pick, 12th pick, 5th pick, 6th pick, whatever the hell you're handing them, you have failed. The
Hawks also have Jalen Johnson's extension kicking in.
If they do not make the play-in this year or the playoffs, but the play-in, Trae Young will be traded this offseason. They can't have zero draft capital.
So they have 23 and 24, 25 million and 23 million the next 2 years. So the Cavaliers basically shrink Karis LeVert plus extension plus George Niang into one serviceable player, which is DeAndre Hunter. DeAndre Hunter is a massive defensive upgrade, which is what they needed. I think this means Isaac Okoro is very available.
They finally have somebody to play the 3.
Yes, and this means Isaac Okoro can be moved. And I believe Okoro just signed an extension, and I believe that extension will be moved. Let's see here. I think it's a reasonable extension, though, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So this is something the Raptors can do. There you go. This is a move that the Raptors can make. Isaac Okoro for Chris Boucher, and you take draft capital back to eat the extra 2 years, and then you try to rehab the value of Isaac Okoro. Would you do this?
Depends on the capital. I mean, I'm not talking
for a second round pick.
1 second.
If you rehab his value, if you want to add protections to the second round pick.
No, I'm saying non-protected, right? Like, you're not going to come at me and be like, it's a top 45 protected second round pick, right?
Correct.
Okay. I don't see the point of putting yourself in a position to be paying for a guy for another 2 years, right? I think that kind of does away with the whole flexibility thing. I mean, I love Boucher, and I don't say this as a slight to him. I would rather get Julian Strawther in a pick, or just let him walk in the offseason and have it be addition by subtraction, because you're going to get that money and not be tied up in anything else.
Yeah, there's another deal that happened 22 minutes ago. Us for not breaking this down. The Phoenix Suns are trading Yusuf Nurkic and a 2026 first-round pick to the Charlotte Hornets for Cody Martin, Vasilij Micic, and 2026 second-round pick.
It's one of the big firsts that they got from Utah.
Huh?
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah, it's one of those poo-poo platter first-round picks. So this is a decent move for the Hornets, who have a center-sized hole in their starting lineup after trading Mark Williams. But now, once again, they get positive pick equity back. I think the Hornets are cooking up something good over there. They have a lot of picks over the next few years. So this is a good deal for them. How do you feel about the Davion Mitchell to Miami deal?
I said it last night. I said the writing was on the wall. Davion's going to be gone tomorrow. If you go back in the live stream last night, that's what I said. Bringing in BI means Davion's gone tomorrow. And I mean, I was right by saying that. It kind of is what it is. I like having the flexibility of PJ Tucker, right? You're going to get that money off your books next year, whether that's you move Tucker again today or you buy him out or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a second round pick, and who knows what that cash looks like. I mean, $2-3 million could go a far way in this whole thing.
Yeah, Christian Burton saying Jakob and a 2026 first for Jonathan Isaac, please. I
think they'd be thrown in the first, brother.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone's throwing in the first at this point. I think Jonathan Isaac's a great, but I do want to say, with Jonathan Isaac's injury history and Brandon Ingram's injury history, are we trying to start a basketball team or a hospital ward? That's worth considering. Like, injury history is legit. I love Jonathan Isaac though. Like, if you think I'm excited about Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes, man, if we ever got Jonathan Isaac on this team, you're gonna see me change the channel art. I love Jonathan Isaac.
I love him too. I love him as a person. I love his basketball. The dude's a freaking hell of a player. He's battled back from so much personally. I would love to have him.
He just wins. He just wins. There was a time when I legitimately would have taken him over Pascak Siakam. So yeah. Oh God. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this has been the craziest deadline. There's so many deals that have happened. We talked about it briefly. We'll talk about it a little bit more before we get back to the Raptors. Dalton Connect for Mark Williams. Does anyone have any thoughts? Maybe someone who hasn't spoken in a while about Dalton Connect, Mark Williams, the pick equity going back. Does anyone have any thoughts about what the Lakers look like this season with Luka and Austin Reeves, LeBron James feeling very inspired, and Mark Williams? Death 4K? AG?
I have serious questions about Williams' motor on defense, but I mean, we'll see what happens under the spotlight. I think it's a good deal for them. I do think they gave basically what I don't think it's a win-win deal. I do think we'll find out who won or lost in the next couple of months, though.
Yeah, I mean, if I was them, honestly, I would have traded for Davion Sharp. I said it on the panel. I think that's the name that I would have targeted as a, really competent center who can maybe step into the limelight. He played at Montverde. He's comfortable being, hunted. He's comfortable being, on the team that everybody hates. I feel like Davion Sharp could pop somewhere. Actually, wouldn't mind the Raptors trading for Davion Sharp either. That'd be great. So now that the Lakers left him on the board, I would love for the Raptors to trade for Davion Sharp, and I wouldn't mind taking Ben Simmons' contract back for it.
Agree with that. I'm with that.
Let's try to make a mock trade if we can.
Question for you guys, though. Would you consider doing a D'Angelo Russell deal?
Hell no.
I don't
Hell no. Absolutely not. I gotta chime in. I do not like his play style. I don't think he fits with our team at all. He's a complete.
Well, for an expiring though.
Nah, bro. Like, he's just a complete negative defender, bro. I can't envision that guy on our roster at all. I honestly, by the way, what's up, Rob? I just wanted to chime in. I didn't want to just barge in the conversation while it was going on, but good talk so far. I'm really pumped about this trade. Sorry to drift off, but real quick, I just want to say that I really like the trade. This is clearly a move for the future, not for now. I think I'm excited because I think people forgot how great of a scorer, 3-level scorer, Brandon Ingram is. So I'm really, really excited about, and he's also a much improved playmaker. I think the Raptors can definitely get the best out of him, the way they did RJ, and the way they did Ochai. and he's got a higher ceiling than both of those guys combined, in my opinion. So I really, really like where we're headed. And by the way, about the moves about the Lakers, I got to be honest with you, Rob. I don't know who Mark Williams is, so I can't really. I'll take a step back on this particular topic for now.
Mm-hmm. I got you. Yeah, Mark Williams was a former lottery pick. Was he 15th? I think he went 15th overall. Very good player. Very good young player. 7'2". Okay defender. Okay rim protector. Good vertical lob threat. Often injured. That's sort of the upside. But a very, very good fit next to Luka Doncic and LeBron James, I would say.
So the way they make this work would be Daron Sharp and Bogdanovic for PJ Tucker and Chris Boucher, and then whatever picks are going to happen from there. That is the best way to make this work. Ben Simmons puts the Raptors into the second apron.
We're hard capped at the first apron, so we can't do that. That's why I was like putting RJ into the deal. I was trying to see what pick equity would make that work. Okay, Bogdanovic to the Raptors. Can we squeeze Dariq Whitehead, or I'm just being greedy now? No. Undo that. Okay.
So what would be the incentive for Brooklyn though here?
You have to add picks. That's the incentive. So right here, this pick should be gone because we've traded it. 2026 first rounder is gone, which is good. Okay, so you trade this, which is a high value type of pick to them, and you trade this. Oops. Okay, what did I do? What did I do? Oh, it's because recently traded. What? No, there's no recently traded, except cannot be traded or aggregated with other teams. 2 months have not passed since he was traded. His outgoing salary cannot be combined with another team. Okay, so in this case, the Raptors would just find a third team. Like before the paperwork goes through, they would just funnel it that way. But anyways, this is something like roughly what I would do. Right? Like you get your center, you get another Balkan guy who can shoot. You give up 2 second-round picks. You give them 2 expirings. They move off. They're basically getting two second-round picks. Conversely, you could just do this move for Daron Sharp straight up. Like you don't even have to add these players.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
True.
So I think you just have to open up a roster space in this situation. So 2 for 2 kind of makes sense. But because if you take Daron Sharp back for nothing, then you're losing the roster space.
Right.
But this is something that I would consider very strongly. Scotty already has a relationship there with Daron. He played with him in high school. I think he's a good young player. Any other deals that y'all would like to explore while we're waiting for the actual deals to break down?
Julian Strawther, for sure, from Denver.
What do you like about Julian Strawther?
Young, fit, athletic, kind of can guard the 2 through 4, right? I guess he could guard a point guard if you really needed it, but gives you another athlete off that bench. And like I said last night, like you can't have too much talent, right? And if Denver it can't wait for him to mature because they need to win now.
What are you giving them?
Boucher.
Okay, so Boucher for Strawther, straight up.
Yes. However it needs to be structured, but that would be.
I don't think it works straight up. So
either.
It's because hold on. So I need to cut. Okay, Nuggets can only take back 2.5 million because they're over the cap. So this deal has to be restructured to include a player that you don't want, which is Zeke Naji. It's the only player that's going to be traded out in this deal. You're not going to get Deron Holmes. You're not getting Peyton Watson. You're not getting Vlatko. You're just not getting anybody else. So this is how the deal would need to be structured. So you would take Chris Boucher. They would get Chris Boucher. You get Zeke Naji, who's a younger player, and Julian Strawther. Now, how do I feel about this deal? Shit. I don't know how I feel about Zeke Naji money. You better feel real confident because that is not a contract that's going to be easy to move. So there's your deal. That's how it gets done. I don't know. They also wait a second. There's another way to get this deal done. Hang on, which does not involve Zeke Naji, which might involve somebody much better than Zeke Naji. Not better, but better for you, which is Dario Saric.
Yes.
This also works. No, it failed. What?
What
Fuck.
if
Oh, because they shit. I forgot how capped out they are. No, they cannot take back this much money. So yeah, this just it has to work with Zeke. It is unfortunate, but it's true.
That's frustrating.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about doing something with Phoenix, centered around Ryan Dunn, Grayson Allen?
Oh God.
They give us picks.
Phoenix just traded away Yusuf Nurkic for what again?
For
Martin.
Cody Martin or Caleb Martin, one of the two. Same person.
Okay, cool. So I believe does that push them under the cap? Does that push them under the apron? So that now they can aggregate.
I feel like I would have seen Sham say that, and he didn't.
No, Shams is very not detail oriented when it comes to trades. So he wouldn't even add that at all. So okay, so the Suns ended up dealing with. Sorry, help me out. Who do they deal with? They dealt with the Hornets. So where the hell are the Hornets? Okay, so let's see. Let me just make the move and then see what it does to the cap space here. So Cody Martin makes $8 million. Yes, it did get them. I believe it does get them under. That's why they paid. That's why they paid so much. It's to get themselves under. It's not because they think Cody Martin is the solution. It's because they want.
Not just them though. It's also Misic.
Oh shit! Misic. Yes, I forgot about that.
7.7 million.
Oh, never mind. Crap.
Charlotte also gets 2026.
So those are the only two players involved, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you could even buy out one of those players, get them off your cap. Okay, so this was the deal. So what does this do? So it takes 18 million and converts it into 15. So it gets you 3 million under. And if we consider the spot track, let me see here. In terms of how over they were, let's look at the Phoenix Suns. Oh my God. Okay. They're fucked. They have the highest payroll in the league, 214 million. So this does not help them actually duck the apron at all. Why did they do this?
I feel like they're still making moves though.
Okay. So, I mean, but they're still under the same fucking restrictions that they were under before. Now they just have two players that nobody wants instead of one player that nobody wants.
I don't think they have a starting big either right now.
No, they don't. Okay, so let's make a deal with Phoenix. Let's make a deal. Make a deal. Unfortunately, their new players haven't been added, I don't think, to spot track, so it's going to be hard to make a deal, but let's just pretend that deal can be made right now. Okay, so
you could go the Boucher route.
If you give them, so that's the sort of messed up part, right? Which is you're not trading for Bradley Beal or Kevin Durant, and right now probably can't make a real move for Devin Booker unless you really, really, really like want to do something. Like, you're gonna have to give up picks.
Could we move BI for Booker still? Like, is it finalized?
You could technically still move Brandon Ingram. I don't think the paperwork has been done yet, so I doubt they do it though. I don't think they're gonna do it. Like, you would be like Brandon Ingram plus
RJ Barrett.
That'd be too much.
No, too much money. So Booker, you'd be able to do Brandon Ingram plus Chris Boucher plus picks
we have to
galore.
give this year's picks.
No, hell, fucking no. You would have to give this pick and this pick right here. probably that. I'm not even sure you have to give up 2 picks, but you probably do have to give up like something of substance here because BI is a free agent. I don't know. I think it would be something like this. Actually, I don't even know about that. I feel like
Yeah, a couple of seconds probably. Maybe just 2.
no. I think it would be a couple of seconds. Like maybe this year's second. And like a 2027 second. And then this. So yeah, I think it would be something like this. It fails because you can't, and then recently traded restriction, must waive players, etc. for the compliance. But oh shit, I forgot to add assets. My bad. I forgot to add Devin Booker coming in. My bad. So Booker goes the other way. Yeah, I think it would be something like this. Yeah, success. So yeah. I don't see why they do it though. And
I
I
mean,
think
apparently Kevin Durant's pissed right now. He's in a call. That's what they're saying.
he's pissed about what?
Like right before they made the move for Nurkic,
Mhm.
like
Why was he pissed?
NBA teams making aggressive calls for Kevin Durant. Durant still has not requested trade.
I don't know. I'd be happy if Nurkic was off my team.
For sure. Okay, so the Raptors, what can they do? I mean, Nick Richards, the experiment has kind of been mid for them. So I don't know. What can they do right now with the Suns?
Ryan Dunn and Grayson Allen is what I was saying, but I don't know if we'd want to absorb Grayson Allen's contract.
They can't aggregate salaries.
Okay, yeah.
So Ryan Dunn cannot be combined with any salary. Nobody can be combined. This is the issue with what they
Second
just
April.
did for 2 players. The 2 smaller salaries is now they have to make 2 deals to get rid of those contracts. What they needed right now was a big contract. The problem is when you are a shitty team, and the reason the apron restrictions do this is because they don't want you to be able to aggregate all your small salaries. Actually, I don't think that I've ever heard this explained on the internet. So this is, I think this is a fresh take for all of you who like the takes. So the reason that teams are barred effectively from aggregating salaries when they go this far is because traditionally what teams like to do, and there's all those restrictions on the picks and all that stuff, is what teams like to do is they like to take the Grayson Allen plus the Ryan Dunn plus the the Micic contract. They want to take all those and they want to take another big player. And then what they do is they take that salary, the roster spots that they opened up, and they go sign minimum players. That's a typical team building strategy that a lot of really stupid teams have taken over the last few years. And so the new CBA works to circumvent that by saying, if you're going to be such a, overpaid team, we're just not going to let you combine all these small salaries and dump them. That's the point. Yeah. Okay. Alexander B saying, I'm surprised the Nets haven't made any moves. Potential Cameron Johnson trade to Raptors would be great. Yes, but not now. 3 months ago, yes, not now. Chad B saying, can we pull trade machine for Nuggets for Boucher? We already did. Scroll back 20 minutes. We already did that.
You know who I'd like to somehow target? Well, 2 guys. I think you covered one of them on one of your tweets I saw. That Derek Lively. Obviously, I think he would be amazing. And also, to a lesser extent, Jabari Smith Jr. in Houston. I want to somehow find a way to get that guy.
Okay, let's try to get Derek Lively to the Raptors in a hypothetical, the Mavs have lost their fucking minds and they're open for business way.
They're so dumb.
They really are the dumbest franchise in NBA history. Like, they're really up there. Like, they may not be the dumbest, but they're really, really stupid. Okay. So, okay. Hello, ring ring, stupid idiot franchise. All right. Okay. Derek Lively, 1 to the Raptors. Perfect. I think immediately Grady Dick's going the other way.
Has to, yeah.
That has to happen, which kind of sucks, but sure. And I think you're adding a pick or two to this to make it work.
I mean, you know what? That's what
That's
logic
where
is
I
dictating.
think, yeah, I feel like the Raptors might balk at the idea of trading, a pick, but I think you got to add something here because perceptively the value of Derek Lively as a big who has untapped shooting potential and rim protection, he's so much better right now than Grady Dick as a player. You can project yourself and hype yourself into Grady being the next Klay Thompson all you want. The truth is Derek Lively's done it in the NBA Finals. There's a gap between these two players. There's no way you're getting them straight up. I think this is like this is the stupidest offer that gets it done. More likely, you're probably adding more. You're probably adding that second round pick from Portland, and you're probably adding another second. And you might even have to add like a third second to get it done.
No, I disagree, Rob. Only because you're thinking about it from a logical sense.
No, I'm first of all, this deal is not logical. If I'm the Mavericks, I don't make this move. No disrespect to Grady Dick. I'm not moving off of Derek Lively. Like Derek Lively plus Anthony Davis feeds families. I'm higher on Derek Lively than probably most. So
me too. But here's the thing, Rob. Hold on. The thing is, like, I wouldn't have made the Luka trade. So I think we have to throw logic out the window with these guys. They're stupid. So we could definitely take advantage of them. I don't think they're thinking with a clear head. That's what I'm saying. We could rinse them on this trade.
Okay.
I really do.
Let's rinse them. Undo. Let's rinse them. All right. Okay. No. I'm still thinking too logically. Rinse. I'm saying rinse, but in my head I'm saying rouse.
Yeah.
Rouse. Push it to the limit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. How you like that?
I like it. Let's see. Yeah.
It does not work because the team is hard capped the first apron. We are hard capped, so we took back too much salary. Shit. How? What? No, we didn't. We didn't take back enough salary. My bad. So, recently traded. Okay. So, possible that Max Christie cannot be reshuttled this quickly. So, let me remove that.
He did play a game for them the other night.
Shit. Okay. Caleb Martin probably also can't be reshuttled. So who can make this salary work? Najee Marshall. Are they that dumb? Are they that stupid? I want to trade for Daniel Gafford. So Anthony Davis is like, fuck, I have to play center again. Okay. Undo. How to make this deal work? That's completely crazy. A deal around Derek Lively for RJ Barrett. It's hard to make it work. They just don't have the salaries that can be moved. Unfortunately, they're not giving you PJ Washington. They're not giving up Daniel Gafford. Najee Marshall makes no sense. Dwight Powell doesn't make enough money. Maxi Kleber is gone. I really like Omax Prosper. Spencer Dinwiddie's on a minimum.
I think I'm willing to overpay to get him, to be honest, because he solves a lot of problems, like a lot.
Yeah, so you're pretty much starting with Grady and a pick heavy package. There really isn't another deal that really works for Derek Lively.
I'm willing to do that. 100%. Because honestly, I was high on Grady, but just the defensive limitations are just too much for me to peg him as a can't trade type of prospect.
Is this the type of player that you trade and then years from now you wonder how the hell you lost it? I feel like there is a significant outcome in which Grady Dick becomes the type of player that you really regret trading.
Not necessarily anymore. mainly because I don't know, because maybe because I'm such a huge Brandon Ingram fan, and I also believe we're going to get a really good player in this draft, and I also really like the upside of Jacoby Walter. So I don't think we're going to miss. I don't think we're going to miss him too much. I obviously wish him well. I think he's going to be a really good scorer, but I don't know. Like,
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
They went one pick apart, and now you have to trade 2 first-round picks to get him back.
That's wild.
It is wild. But look, man, Derek Lively this year has been a 4 box plus minus kind of guy. If Grady Dick ever gets to 4 box plus minus, it will be like a crazy outcome. I do think Grady presents a lot of value. I just think next to a Brandon Ingram and a Scotty Barnes, they both fit. So that's why I'm like, I would love if you could do this without Grady and without Jacoby. If you could do this with somebody else, unfortunately, everybody else just makes too much money for it to work. So unless you get a third team involved, moving off of the pipe dream of Derek Lively, what was the other team that you said?
Jabari Smith Jr.
Okay. The Houston Rockets.
That would be fun.
I think Jabari would be really fun.
That'd be extremely fun.
Okay. So again, we get into the situation of, do they want to pay this guy? That situation. Jabari for Boucher, and you're giving a ton of picks, or not ton of picks, but like
probably
you're giving the same picks again.
Top 10 protected 2026, right? And then like a second or two.
Yeah, I think you're doing something like this.
Sign me up. Yep.
You would do that?
Yeah, I would personally. Yeah. I can't believe Boucher's value has gone up this much. Wow. Unreal.
Boucher plus 2 seconds for Rob Williams III. Why the hell would I push them? I respect you as the sole super chatter of the night, or the day. But why are we giving up 2 seconds in this deal for Rob Williams, who is so frequently hurt? I appreciate what you're saying. Rob Williams would be a massive upgrade on Chris Boucher in terms of what the Raptors need from that position as a rim protecting big. But he is, I believe, an expiring contract, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or does he have 2 years?
Let me look. But, I mean, are we trying to become an infirmary ward?
Fair.
Robert Williams contract. He signed a 4-year 48 when he was with the Celtics still, and that is over this year. Yeah.
So he's expiring.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, and you have to
resign. Oh, no, I lied. He has another year. Next year is $13 million. I lied.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I mean, if the Rockets want to save some money here, do they need to save money? Are they in a cap situation? I don't think so. The Houston Rockets are in an even better cap situation than we're in.
Yeah,
they have 164. So they have a lot of space beneath the cap.
Plus Fred's getting off those books.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a hell of a team these next 5-6 years.
Oh, damn. So I did not factor in how little cap space, how little luxury tax space the Raptors actually have right now. Damn. What? I thought Brandon Ingram was a $36 million contract. But for luxury tax purposes, he's a $38 million contract because I think of incentives. I think it's because of incentives. Yeah, so the Raptors have less space under the tax, so they have a lot less to play with than I initially thought walking into today. They have $2.5 million under the cap space right now. So they're not in any position to be taking on like $7 million, et cetera. And that's largely due to the Davion Mitchell move, right? Because the Davion for PJ swap added a lot to your books here.
You think they're going to waive him though?
PJ?
Yeah. If you can't trade him, you're waiving him. And then I think
you're buying him out.
Yeah, at this point with Boucher, I mean, it just is looking more and more like, I mean, you're going to get off of him this offseason.
Sure.
That's what it's looking like at this point.
Well, what about the Warriors with Kuminga?
Kuminga?
Vucevic to the Warriors is heating up.
Okay.
Sorry, I just want to give a random update.
Stretch five, why not?
Shams isn't reporting it. It's some like lower level guys that are reporting it. But
if that's true, I like it for the Warriors. Stretch five. They already have pretty decent defense, like a defense.
So Vucevic for what to the Warriors though? Like the Warriors have all these like rotation level players, and the Bulls are tearing it down. I feel like there's some teams to watch here, which are like the really bad teams in the league.
sucks for the Raptors because I feel like Cooper Flag somewhere the NBA, like Chicago somewhere that the NBA would send Cooper Flag.
I don't believe that the draft is rigged, so I don't prescribe.
I don't think it's rigged either, but I think that there's a market, obviously, right? Like Wemby went to San Antonio for a reason. There's a market there.
Okay, then tell me the reason that Zion went to New Orleans.
They sacrificed AD. He was a sacrificial lamb. There's a conspiracy. There's a hush hush conspiracy where the NBA told the Pelicans, if you give the Lakers AD, because they would have just held on to him until his contract was over, out of spite, out of pity. If you give the Lakers AD, you will have a very high chance of getting Zion, and that's very much what happened. Just hasn't worked out. They were trying to replace one superstar there with another, and it sucks because Zion's been injured his whole career. Like, we were supposed to be having like passing the torch discussions right now between Zion and LeBron James, and we're just not having that.
Bro, I like that logic right there. It's like InfoWars. Let's go. I like it.
They're turning the freaking frogs gay.
Yeah, nah, but
Okay.
honestly, yeah.
I don't prescribe to that at all. I think there's, we're meaning generation machines. That's why our brains are so tuned to stories, right? So Christian Burton with another one. Guys, you got to take a gamble sometimes. I mean, earlier you were talking about Mitchell Robinson, talk about starting an injury ward. Mitchell Robinson is not coming in as a positive asset. Rob Williams is a positive asset right now. The Houston Rockets would trade something of actual value for Rob Williams. That's the difference. Mitchell Robinson hasn't played basketball in a long time. It's a little bit of a different situation. That's the difference. Also a difference, Mitchell Robinson is purely a cap move. So I don't even think the Raptors can facilitate that right now because they're not in a position to facilitate that. From the luxury tax perspective, I think there's about 3 million, 4 million, unless they shuttle PJ Tucker off to another team. So, I mean, there's a chance that the Raptors are legitimately done. And the only move that they really could make right now is Chris Boucher to Denver for the aforementioned Zeke Naji plus Julian Strawther package. I'm not sure they want to sign up for 4 years to Zeke Naji in the off chance that maybe Julian Strawther is a good player for them, because I already think that they have a glut of wings that they need to develop right now. Like, here's a question for you, Lane. Who do you prefer, Julian Strawther or Jacoby?
Oh, Jacoby.
Julian Strawther or Grady?
Grady.
Julian Strawther or RJ? Just as players, not as contracts.
RJ.
Okay. So what are we doing here? We're taking out 4 years of Zeke Naji to get a fourth string or third string wing.
See, that's why I'm saying.
I didn't even ask you about Jameson Battle because I already know OHIO. You're going with Jameson Battle. So you're like realistic. Yeah. So realistically, like,
that would be a move I'd like to see happen if it wasn't Zeke Naji, but I think Zeke Naji holds it up, and because of that, the Raptors just hold on to Chris Boucher for the rest of the season, and whatever happens this offseason happens this offseason. It could be addition by subtraction contract-wise, and I'd be fine with that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shit, and I completely forgot about Ochai. That's how many wings we have, that I forgot about the rim-protecting, 40+% three-point shooting, former lottery pick that's sitting on our bench right now.
Los Angeles Clippers are trading Terrence Mann and Bones Highland to the Atlanta Hawks for Bojan Bogdanovic and 3 second-round picks.
Your pronunciation of Serbian
I'm so sorry.
Croatian
I know
names
it's probably making you cringe. I apologize.
makes me want to tape my ears and give them like the Vincent Van Gogh treatment.
That's on me. Growing up as a white kid in the suburbs of Columbus, Ohio, I haven't had to pronounce very many of those.
Bogdanovic.
My bad. I got you next time.
Yeah. The IC is itch in most cases. Okay. The Los Angeles Clippers are trading, as you mentioned, Terrence Mann and both. I thought Terrence Mann, given his connection with Scotty Barnes, could be an interesting player for this. But okay, let's see here. To the Atlanta Hawks for Bogdanovich and 3 second-round picks. So the Hawks are just like,
What are
fuck
they
the
doing?
world. We're just gonna go all in. The Hawks are like, you remember, give me a W in the chat if you watched The Dark Knight. Do you remember when Alfred is trying to explain the Joker to Bruce Wayne,
Yes.
and he says, "Some people can't be reasoned with. Some people, Master Wayne, just want to see the world burn." That's basically Landry Fields in Atlanta right now. He just wants to see the whole world burn right now, man. Jeez.
I don't understand any of the moves they made today.
Good
So-
on the Clippers for getting off that Terrence Mann money, though.
What?
I said good on the Clippers for getting off that Terrence Mann money, though.
How much money was it?
More than he was worth. Hold on.
I think Terrence Mann's a competent basketball player, man.
I think he is too, but I think that they want to. I mean, they haven't had the position to be flexible in a while, and this gives them some flexibility.
Sure. Yeah.
3 years, $47 million, and he would be paid through 2028, 15, and 16 million. So they're getting off of that.
Are they possibly freeing up some money to pay a certain surging star?
You talking about Zubac or
Powell and Zubats.
It would
They're about to get pretty expensive.
it would make a lot of sense. It would make a lot of sense. I mean, I don't know. It kind of feels like one of those where it's like good for the Hawks for getting Terrence Mann because they could use a guy like that, especially after losing, Jalen Johnson for the season and then trading Hunter today, which didn't make any sense to me at all. But now it kind of makes a little bit more sense when you're bringing in a guy like a Karis LeVert. Now you're bringing in a Terrence Mann. Seconds, a competent franchise like the Raptors values those second-round picks, which I appreciate. Franchise like the Hawks, maybe not so much, right? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Like this is either a team that's going to have a competitive first-round playoff series or miss the play-in.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know what the Hawks are doing. I think they're just throwing shit at the wall, hoping something sticks. I feel like they remind me of the gambler who's down like $12,000 and is just like double up, double or nothing. Let's go. And I feel like they strike out again and they're just like, all right, next one. And they're like hitting up all their friends and they're just like, hey, could you loan me like 20 grand? I'll hit you back tomorrow. I'll double your money for you. I feel like they're at that. I feel like they're about to go into the washroom and offer favors for an extra 20 right now. They feel very, very desperate right now to salvage the season. And you know what? Let this be a lesson to anyone who trades a fucking first round pick when you're mid as fuck. Don't do it. Like even like right now, I'm saying the Raptors trading, future first in 2026 for Derek Lively. Yeah, for Derek Lively though. Be careful with that shit. We just went through hell last year and it wasn't a good draft. Can you imagine what we'd be going through this year if the same pick was there? The lottery gods saved our asses last year. They saved us so hard. Because look at where we are right now. We are 5th. Okay. We'd probably be 4th or 5th, even if we were trying to lose. So, like if we were trying to lose the whole way through, we'd be 4th, 3rd, whatever. There's no guarantee on a top 6 right there. Right? So, shit, imagine losing the 7th pick in this draft and watching some fucking team go out there and draft VJ Edgecombe because you wanted Jakob Poeltl some years ago. There needs to be some patience exercised by these teams trading away these first-round picks. Yeah. Especially multiple first-round picks. 6, 7 years in advance.
So Bojan has been very bad this year. Bojan, my fault. He's been negative 4.9 BPM.
That's bad.
He's been terrible. He's shooting 30% from 3, 37% from the field, where Terrence Mann's 44%, 45%, let's round up, from the field, and 34% from 3.
Mm.
So you're taking the longer contract. You're taking the younger player.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it for the Hawks.
Also, it wasn't Bojan Bogdanovic. It was Bogdan Bogdanovic.
That's what I was trying to pronounce. My bad. Once again.
That's what you were
It
trying to
strikes.
pronounce?
Yeah, it strikes. It strikes again, dude. I'm sorry. I promise you, it's not out of a place of disrespect. It's out of a place of never having to pronounce it before.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. Yeah, so I would like to take this moment to just kind of shout out to all the international players from Giannis Antetokounmpo, whose name we consistently butcher because it's really Yanni Antetokounmpo. Like, it's difficult, right, to say these things. But I think what we need to do, and we need to normalize, because I feel like some people do it and some people don't, which is before you interview somebody or before you talk about somebody, it's really good to try and figure out how to pronounce their name. I've seen reporters do it with Kasparas, Yakuchonis. Like, I'm trying to do my best. I'm not Lithuanian. I can try, and I have a feeling like, it's just, yeah. Anyways, I've heard reporters ask Alperen Şengün how to pronounce his name, and yet people still come out with Şengün. Şengün is probably the correct-ish way to say it, but then some people say Sengun, and people just don't care. They're just like trying to. This is someone's name. It's like very irritating sometimes. Like when people like do my last name and they say Misovic, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. People used to call me miso soup. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, Mishovic. Like, it's super easy. To me it's super easy, but I guess to some people it's hard. But yeah, I think we need to normalize asking people how to say their names, regardless of where they're from. Yeah. Someone's Chosen said it's like Johnny with a Y. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Gregory saying my brain no longer inputs new pronunciations. Try. Spooky Ghostwriter saying my last name is 2 letters long and nobody can say it properly. Does anyone know what his last name is? I know what his last name is. I can just guess. But does anyone know what his last name is?
Lou, like Lu.
I don't think so.
Where that's not. Hold on now. We're working off of very limited information. Okay. What part of the world are they from?
I don't know, but 2-letter last names are extremely, extremely unlikely. My money would be on this. my money would be on this. This is a hard last name to pronounce, and yeah, YU is I think Lee Z. Okay, XI. That could be hard to pronounce. Oh, what? QU. Nope, QU. I've never seen anyone with the last name QU. Can you tell us how to pronounce it? I'm actually deeply curious now. If there's a way for you to phonetically kind of write it out, like how do you pronounce it? Oh shoot, there's like plenty of people, and it is an Asian last name. I have never seen that before. Kwa?
Is it Kwa or K?
It's rare even in my native tongue Mandarin. Okay, gotcha. So is it Ka? Kwa. Yo, I love this. 609 people learning how to say Mandarin last names. Love it. But I do think it's very, very important to say people's last names correctly. XI is she. I think that's correct. Yes. Did I say Z? There you go. Okay. All right. Okay. Justin T saying Northerners are polite. Ashley saying hello. Huh? Q. We're just waiting for confirmation on how to say this name. Jamal Murray saying 29 minutes remaining. Okay, it is worth noting that whatever deals break at 3 o'clock, there will still be potentially, it's rare, but some deals do come through a little bit later. I believe that without Woj, is this our first deadline without Woj?
Yes.
Okay. I do believe when you lose a person like Adrian Wojnarowski, I feel like this year the reporting has been a little bit rough. I'm not trying to come at Shams or anything, but I feel like the reporting has been a little bit inaccurate and a little bit rough around. And I think it wouldn't surprise me at all if we see some things break at about 3:30. So we'll keep this live going until about 3:30. I do expect Chris Boucher to get moved. I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't, though, because the two players that I definitively thought were getting moved were Davion and Bruce, because ain't no way they're coming back next year. The third player, I mean, I was kind of shocked that he got moved. I'm not shocked that he got moved, but he was on the list of suspects to get moved was Kelly. So he's been moved. So 3 out of the 5 players that I thought realistically could get moved this trade deadline have been moved already. Now, what remains is what came back for Davion, which is PJ, Chris Boucher, and potentially Jakob Poeltl. Yes. Claxton. You're screaming Claxton makes me think that we got Claxton. If we actually got Claxton, I'm going to freak. I don't think that we did, though. Right?
Yeah, no, we didn't get Claxton.
Would you make a deal for Cameron Johnson right now?
Do you think he'd be comfortable coming off the bench?
Why would he be coming off the bench?
Yeah, he'd start, bro.
Who's he starting over? He's a
RJ.
4. You're putting him at the 2?
No, I'm putting him at 4.
Are you putting BI at the 2?
I'm putting BI at the 2, Cam at the 4, Scotty at the 3, IQ at the 1, and bring RJ off the bench. Or I move Scotty to the 5, BI to the 4. No, wait. What the fuck am I saying? Scotty to the 5, Johnson to the 4. Oh my God. Yo, if you did that, Scotty at the 5 as a Jokic-ish player, right? Kind of a point center, if you will. So you're basically playing without a center. Cameron Johnson, Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley. How do you stop this team?
I love that.
We crazy. Like the shooting alone of Emmanuel Quickley and Cameron Johnson, the transition, you're super fast. I mean, you would be run DMC, like you would be running Showtime. Like that would be crazy. Obviously, sustainably long term, the minute you jump into a 7'4" guy like Zach Edey, you're fucked. But yeah, I mean, overall, you're trying to pile up good players on Scotty's timeline. Cameron Johnson is a young 28. Gregory saying sleep deprivation. Did you get rickrolled? I was walking past the computer and typed without thinking completely. It was really sorry for the confusion. No, it's okay. That's cool. We had a moment to dream that we got Nick Claxton, the type of lob threat that Scotty would really, thrive with. Just because I'm happy we got something of value for Bruce, next year could be a shocking turnaround. Hoping for a Boucher trade still. Thank you for the super chat, Justin Stewart. I appreciate it. I think we did get something of value for Bruce for sure. But I don't think the value was really Bruce. I think the value was literally, I think I could have been on a $23 million expiring contract. They would have made that deal. It doesn't really matter to them who it was.
Rob, got a question for you. Sorry, I'm
What's
gonna
up?
cut you off. Okay, so I haven't looked at the contractual situation for BI, but like, what does it look like? I know did they pick up his option?
There's no option.
Okay, because I probably heard wrong then. Okay, so what's his contractual like details? Is he up for a new one or like what's going on there?
Yeah, he's extension eligible. He
Okay.
makes $36 million, 38 towards with the incentives. Potentially, I don't know what the incentives are on his contract. You would be able to negotiate an extension with him very soon. Like, I think, you probably could sign it right away. I'm pretty sure you could sign it right away. And what that extension would look like is probably, I'm going to say, if I had to guess, 3 years, 120.
You think he would commit 3 years to Toronto? Because I don't know. I just got back into this.
What does that mean? Would he commit to Toronto? What would be his trepidation? The 4 years or Toronto or
Like the term, long. Is he looking for like a long-term deal, or?
I mean,
that's for him.
it takes two people to sign a contract, right? I mean, the Raptors would also need some assurances that you're not going to fall off a cliff. And we just committed 4 years to a player whose peak season is 4 years ago. That's dangerous for us too. So, this is not necessarily a proven contract, but there's a less of a risk because the Raptors they don't like to be in a desperate situation where they have a logjam of contracts that need to be renewed at the same time. By doing this, you actually line up his extension with Jacoby's extension.
Mhm.
And I think that helps. You could potentially also sort of give him a 4-year deal. And again, what I said was earlier in the live, to repeat myself for anyone who's been chilling, with us since the beginning, was I would actually put it as a contract that descends in value over the term. So I would front load it, and I would give him more money up front, and then I would descend it as it goes down as the other players become more expensive. So basically, Scotty, his contract goes up, right? Emmanuel quickly, his contract goes flat. With Brandon Ingram, I would actually make his contract go down.
Right.
So it becomes more valuable the more years he plays, to the
So
point where eventually he becomes, or I mean, technically you could also like dip it in the middle. So you can make it a really big bloat on the expiring. So it could, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can rise it, dip it, and then rise it again within reason. So I mean, you could do a 3-year deal like that where he gets a bulk of the money up front when you have the cap space. Then the second year, where if the contract didn't work out, oh shit, he's making a little bit less, so it makes it a little bit easier to swallow. And the last year he becomes a bigger expiring. I don't know. I would get creative with the contract structure.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think a 3-year deal works best for the Raptors and for him because he's 27. He gets a big contract now, and then he gets a big contract when he turns 30.
I guess the reason I asked was because I didn't know the whole backstory of how this trade happened. So let me ask you guys: did he request a trade, or did the team just move off him?
He didn't request a trade. Officially, the position is he didn't request a trade, but privately, different thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Atlanta just made another trade. It was a small one, but
God, what did they do now?
Cody Zeller and a second to the Rockets.
For what?
For nothing yet. You want a second-round pick. You can have a second-round pick. You get a second-round pick, man. They're just throwing them.
The Atlanta Hawks are trading Cody Zeller and Houston's 2028 second-round pick to the Rockets. Sources tell us. Okay. What's Cody Zeller's contract look like? Okay, I got to take a 2-minute washroom break. So I will trust that nobody starts, that y'all are all community members long-term, that no one's going to start shouting racist shit on here. Yes? Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool.
Correct.
All right. I'm gonna put the banner up. I will be back in 2 minutes. I'm just gonna hold on. Let me put this comment up. Y'all keep talking, keep discussing. I'm happy to listen to it. I'll be back in 2-3 minutes. But yes.
So Cody Zeller has 3-year deal, 3.5 this year, 3.675 next year, 3.85 in 2026, 2027. So Rockets are taking some salary, which they can do, getting a pick for it. I mean, I doubt they give anything of value back other than maybe a bottom of the roster guy.
So that's so basically they're dumping salary. I'm trying to figure out what their next play is, because obviously
they're gearing up for something. They're gearing up for a buzzer beater or something this offseason.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know if they're actually trading the picks that they're getting from the from Cleveland. I don't know if they can do that though.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause can't you?
I-
You can't trade picks that you've already gotten in trade, right? In
I think you
succession.
can. I think you can instantly. I don't know what they're trying to gear up for here. I'm waiting to see them like trade Clint Capella, and then just none of this makes sense at all.
Do you guys think they're trying to go for a home run, like a big player out of Phoenix, for instance?
Phoenix is
said they're-
done.
Yeah, Phoenix said
They're done.
Oh, okay, interesting.
The only thing that makes sense at this point
Cam
is
Johnson.
Cam John. That's why I
Yeah.
said Cam, Ben Simmons, one of those guys. Dennis Schroeder rerouted to the Pistons as part of the Jimmy Butler deal. Nice.
Bro, he's been on like 4 different teams.
It's funny.
Last, like, 18 months.
He said the trade deadline's like slavery, and he's been traded, 3 times now within the past 2 days?
Yeah, that's crazy.
See, the funny thing is Boucher said that too. Like, he's been always stressed out this time of year, but he never gets traded the last like 4 years.
Honestly, I don't think he'll be traded. I know a lot of people want Boucher to be traded. I think the Raptors are just going to eat it in the offseason, and it's going to be is what it is, because getting off that contract is going to be better than trading him for something at this point.
Yeah. I mean, you're just giving away wins by giving them away.
I mean,
You're not getting equal value back for him.
You're not getting equal value. You're actually tying yourself down by trying to bring in like a Zeke Naji or something like that. And there's really nothing else that's going to interest, people for Chris Boucher. I don't know. I think Gary Payton II makes a lot of sense, but I don't know what that looks like from the Warriors side of things. But I also think the Warriors right now are just worried about getting Vucevic before the trade deadline ends.
I don't know.
There's
Defensively, the Warriors, they don't have anyone in the back. Well, they do. They kept Pods, right?
Yeah, they I mean, unfortunately for them, they kept Pods. They don't like them very much. You lose your best point of attack defender. I mean, maybe old man Draymond, but like Andrew Wiggins was guarding the best player every single night. You lose him. You replace him with Jimmy Butler. You're hoping that Jimmy Butler just had the fat suit on this whole past year in Miami, and that he's magically going to start averaging 20, 22 points a game again.
What's Vucevic's contract? They'd have to give up Hield or something for this, right?
I mean, if I'm giving up Buddy Hield for Vucevic, I'd do that in a heartbeat. He, honestly, if he was playing for a better team this year, he would have been an all-star. I think he's shooting like 30.
He's averaging double-double, yeah.
Yeah.
He played really well. Yeah,
he's playing really freaking well. Like, he's kind of the guy, if we didn't have Jakob Poeltl, I feel like he played very, very well next to Scotty.
Absolutely. Pick and pop. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. 3 years, $60 million is what he's on. And he has 1 more year left on his contract next year for 21.4. So
interesting.
You're not trading for an expiring that you're going to have to pay this offseason. The Warriors have money. Obviously, they've got off of, I mean, they signed Butler, but they got off of Wiggins. They got off of Clay. Like, they have the money to make it happen.
They have to pay Kuminga, though.
So could the Raptors get in here as a facilitator?
For who? Specifically?
Between the Warriors getting Nikola, and could we get in here as a facilitator maybe?
Or what's 2.5 under the apron?
Dude, we could take a Gary Payton. I would take Gary Payton.
Yeah, I like
it'd have to be a 3-team, yeah. Probably some compensation back for us, maybe a second round or something.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me if you're going to get off of – that's the only Boucher deal that makes sense to me, is getting off that for someone like Gary Payton, because Gary doesn't disrupt Shed at all.
No, he complimented him.
Exactly.
He would compliment
him very, very well.
Yeah.
I could unless we get in a like facilitating something like that, I think Boucher's on this team past the deadline.
Dennis Schroeder is being rerouted to the Detroit Pistons as part of the Jimmy Butler deal, sources tell me. So Detroit does get Dennis Schroeder. That's interesting.
Kate Cunningham's new buddy.
So Dennis Schroeder has gone from Toronto at this time pretty much last year to Brooklyn to the Warriors to the Miami to the Detroit Pistons. Oh boy, good move for the Pistons. Good move. Really does plug in that hole that they had with.
I wonder if he's just rerouting his plane or just staying in one place until it's done.
Can you imagine having a conversation with your wife and your kids and being like, guys, these are all the sites in Miami. Really, really happy to let y'all know. I'm coming home, going to Miami, gonna be part of Heat culture, and then you have to call your wife and be like, guys, another family conference. We're not going to Miami anymore. We're not going to Miami, bro. I'm sorry.
We're going to Detroit.
We're going to Detroit.
That's evil. That is evil. Oh shoot, Rob, we were discussing
I was listening.
Okay, how could we put together and help facilitate a Vucevic trade to Golden State?
Bro, can we just have a moment for Jason Williams' comment of the day? Dennis is a 10-man blood rotation.
That's a good. That's a good one. I like it,
bro. Okay, I was gonna say Dennis is running trains, but that's a really, really crass way to say that shit. So
you think he's going to? You think he's going to Detroit to be the leader?
Leader, okay. I feel like there's 567 people, and I feel like let me try to get who might have gotten my last comment. I feel like there's 100 people that are dying laughing right now. There's a lot of other people that think that Dennis Schroeder is literally on a train, and they're probably very white. So I like to pepper in a joke that works for everybody. That's why I said he's running trains.
Don't worry, bro. I got it, bro. That was okay. Yeah, I definitely got it.
Hey, when I saw Dennis Schroeder, what's up, Rob?
What's good? What's good, Mopi?
What's good, brother? When I saw Dennis Schroeder in the FIBA Cup, I was very happy that he was a Raptor because I think he signed that year. But then it didn't equate from the FIBA Cup to the NBA on the Raptors.
Sorry, say that again. I was too busy trying to understand what the fuck he was talking about. Prashant saying, "What's that mean? Do you run trains too?"
Sometimes.
Bro, pause.
What the heck?
How many apartment lease agreements has Dennis Schroeder agreed on this past year? Okay. I feel like I'm getting too much joy out of Dennis Schroeder's misery, and the Schadenfreude is real. I believe, is Schadenfreude a German term? Sounds like a German term. That's funny.
Yeah, that's definitely Deutsch, 100%.
Okay, so there's a little bit of Schadenfreude going on here. Yep, Schadenfreude. Okay. All right. So sorry, Mopi, can you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
It wasn't really a question. It was more like an analysis. I thought, look, during the FIBA Cup, Dennis Schroeder played pretty good, right?
Sure.
I was kind of excited. Like, we got Schroeder. He was a big name player, and I thought it would equate to the Raptors, but it didn't really work out. But it wasn't really a question. It's just a little. And the second thing I want to say, do you think Chris Boucher will be our version of Udonis Haslem?
No.
No, not at all.
No. The parallels are not the same.
Hey, Rob, do you want to help me out here real quick when you get
What's up?
So I just ran in the trade machine without picks. The Raptors getting Gary Payton II, the Warriors getting Vucevic and Boucher, and the Bulls get Buddy Hield, Kevon Looney, and Pause, and that was successful. How would you want picks to work with this?
Okay, we're gonna rack up spot track, and you're gonna tell me that thing again. Hold on one sec. Okay. I guess the chat will let us know if something breaks for Chris Boucher in the next 9 minutes. What the hell am I doing here? Ugh. Okay. fans. Oh, okay. So go ahead. It's a 3-team deal with the Raptors. Who else?
Warriors and Bulls.
And I
'Cause-
guess we're getting Vooch
to Golden State. Yep. And we're also sending Boucher to Golden State. And in return, we're getting Gary Payton. I assume some draft capital, like a second or two. The Warriors get Vooch and Boucher, and then the Bulls get Buddy Hield, Kevon Looney, and Pods.
Okay. Sorry. If you're looking at the screen, say that one more time. Slowly.
Raptors get Gary Payton the second.
Okay, that's an expiring.
Warriors get Vucevic and Boucher.
Boucher to the Warriors. Vucevic to the Warriors. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And Bulls get Buddy Hield, Looney, and Pods. The Warriors need front court help. This gives them immediate front court help.
Okay.
2 stretch bigs to put next to Steph.
So the third player was, where the hell is he? Pods is already gone. Buddy Hield is gone. Looney, right? Okay,
Yeah.
Here we go. Looney. So, okay. First of all, a lot of players going to the Warriors. That's going to be hard. They have to waive some people because they're only giving up 1 player and they're taking back 3. So immediately,
You mean the Bulls?
right? The Bulls. They're taking back 2
Well,
new players.
they just waived Torrey Craig and someone else the other day.
Okay, perfect. So they can actually do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're trying to figure out what did the pick situation look like?
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I
So
want your opinion on.
is Gary Payton done for the year?
I don't think so. He played the other night. He dunked on somebody.
Hmm.
Jazz get KJ Martin, Josh Richardson, and a 2nd-round pick. Pistons get Dennis Schroeder. Nice. What a trade.
I mean, in terms of picks, there probably aren't a lot here because Brandon Pajimski is a valuable piece. Like, I understand there's a little bit of a downtrodden idea about him. Kevon Looney is valuable, but I guess with Vucevic and Boucher, they would be clearing up some space to do that. I do think the Warriors get the 2 the best players, at least per this season. They get the 2 best players in the deal. But they're giving up the youth in exchange for Vucevic. They're eating the extra year of Vucevic, which is a pretty reasonable deal, in my opinion.
Yep.
They're taking 4 years of Buddy Hield. So they're being sort of shafted on that because Buddy Hield has been awful.
But you're getting Pods, a young player, in return, which, I mean, they did Caruso for Giddey straight up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think the Warriors are throwing a pick the Bulls' way.
First round pick?
A second or 2.
Okay. So I mean, I think the team that does end up paying the most is probably the Warriors. I think they end up overpaying just because everyone in this situation is more relaxed than they are. They're the ones that have the, like, we have a real reason we have to move. So
we get a second from them too. We get at least a second from them too. In my mind.
Yeah, so I think it probably works out as something like both the Bulls and the Raptors get seconds for this. Yep. Something like this.
Boom. Congratulations, you start tomorrow.
Who? Gary Payton?
No. Oh, Memphis Grizzlies are trading Marcus Smart and a 2025 first-round pick to the Washington Wizards in a multi-team trade that sends 2 second-round picks to Memphis. Oh, multi-team. What else is going on?
Okay.
Marcus Smart to Washington, though.
He just played against us last night. That's cool. And he went 0 for 6. Let it be known that, like, a lot of players who played last night are not on the same team anymore. Okay, let's see here.
And a first, 2025 first. I think it's Memphis's, yeah.
But I mean, Memphis is a good team. Okay, so to the Washington Wizards in a multi-team trade that sends 2 second-round picks to Memphis. So Memphis not only moves off of Marcus Smart, but they're exchanging a first for 2 seconds. Okay, cool. I mean, that's not really a deal of consequence. You're just basically eating Marcus Smart's contract for nothing. And now if you're the Wizards, what the fuck are you doing? You now have Chris Middleton, Marcus Smart, and Malcolm Brogdon on your team. Like, you have 3 actually good players who could help a contender right now, and you're holding on to them at 257 of the trade deadline. Make it make sense, man. I mean, that's the type of deal. Like, you could put those 3 players together. I mean, I understand they're all overpaid and over the hill.
Los Angeles Clippers, Kevin Porter Jr.
For Beauchamp. For Beauchamp.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Who's reporting that?
Shams.
Oh, okay. And Chris. Okay. Okay, cool. So the Milwaukee Bucks are officially. I like Beauchamp. I don't know what exactly. I mean, I think Kevin Porter Jr. is the more talented player right now, for sure. I could understand this from that perspective, but I also don't completely understand it from what you need. Like, if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, you've now added 2 quote unquote bucket getters in Kevin Porter Jr. and Kyle Kuzma. How well is Kevin Porter Jr. shooting this year?
Let me look.
About league average, honestly.
His exact numbers are.
He's shooting 24.5% from 3.
Oh my.
Yeah, never mind.
On his career, he's 34.8. So, I mean,
this year is dragging it down.
It is. His best year ever was 2 years ago, where he shot 37.5 on 6.8 attempts per game. Sorry, 6.8 attempts per game. Yeah. He's never really been a great free throw shooter. This year, he's shooting 64.5% from the free throw line. Makes me think he's more of a scorer than a shooter, which he obviously has been. He likes to play with the basketball. Giannis has the basketball a lot. So really, at this point, the stupid front office just keep piling on stupid decisions. I want to give you like my list of the dumbest front offices in the NBA based on what I've seen this trade deadline. Number 1, clearly the Dallas Mavericks. No one can outdo the stupidity that they did. Number 2, the Atlanta Hawks, and number 3, the Milwaukee Bucks. I think these are the dumbest organizations based on
to be traded to the Kings.
Jake LaRavia.
Yeah.
From the Grizzlies?
Yeah.
Lord.
I thought don't mean to interrupt.
Memphis. Okay. Damn.
So Beauchamp is 2 points a game this year, 38 from the field, 33 from 3. So I guess it's a trade for upside for the Bucks.
I suspect that Marcin Beauchamp has a little bit of upside himself, and maybe in a new situation. I mean, this is a frenzy. We're talking about like over 60 players at least have been moved in the last, little bit here. This is crazy.
Yeah,
get this fucking.
Trades do happen like after the half an hour mark, right? Sometimes the league offices, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there are some deals that could break, and honestly, I would put the Raptors as a prime contender to leak late because they don't leak early. So I could see that, but usually you'll get a report from like Josh Bloomberg or Michael Grange or someone like that saying the Raptors are done making trades, and that typically signals the end of the deadline. So I think right now, I mean, you're probably.
Someone send that Vucevic Boucher trade to Bobby and Masai real quick. See if they can get it done.
Well, we're officially past the deadline, so you can't get it done now. But
I think it was a beautiful trade that we cooked up. Not gonna lie, guys, I'm very proud of that.
Interesting. So Boucher might be a Raptor.
Pacers are trading James Wiseman and cash to the Toronto Raptors. Oh man, all I saw was Raptors and I got excited. I don't want Wiseman.
What?
Wait.
We just got Wiseman.
Are you
And
kidding me?
Yeah, no, we got Wiseman. This is
For who?
Nothing
for
yet.
cash.
They said Wiseman and cash to the Raptors.
Probably
He has,
Boucher.
he has a torn Achilles.
Yeah, it's a offloading move. They're pretty much paying us to take him so they can free up a roster spot, I guess.
But that puts us in the.
I mean, we're probably going to cut both him and PJ Tucker at this point. They're both going to get waived.
Okay, I need to see James Wiseman's contract.
I think it's minimum
2.2.
Yeah.
Okay. So we fit him into our.
Got a team option, I think. Yeah.
Right.
He's done.
What do you mean he's done?
Like, I think he's going to get cut. I think it was just a move to get him off Indiana's books because Indiana's going to try to go get someone in the buyout market like a Torrey Craig.
Okay, but that doesn't make any sense for us because unless they're giving us $3 million in cash.
They might have.
With all this shit that I have talked about, James Wiseman.
He's a Raptor.
Fuck. NY4 Rap saying Chris Boucher survived the trade deadline.
Again, keyword.
Mr. Canada saying, welcome to Toronto Raptors. Cash considerations. Jesus. Like, I mean, we had $2.5 million, and this is what we did here.
There has to be another move. There has to be.
Well, there doesn't have to be. I mean, we were very active here. We made 3 deals in the span of 15, 16 hours.
No, I'm saying for it to make sense in my head, like with the money that we just took on from this.
Well, I believe the Raptors, so you're allowed to take up to $7 million in a particular year for in cash considerations. I have no idea how much cash the Raptors took in the PJ Tucker swap, but it seems to me that they accomplished what they were doing, or what they wanted to do. What they wanted to do was two-pronged. Number one, they wanted to use their existing space of $10 million but beneath the luxury tax, right, to fill in their roster and to get something from other teams. What they ended up doing is they ended up parting that out. That's basically the mid-level exception that they didn't use. They used part of it on Brandon Ingram, right? It's like $4 million-ish. They used part of it on PJ Tucker, another $4 million, and then they used $2 million of it on James Wiseman. In exchange for that, they obviously got Brandon Ingram, and they gave up a first-round pick and a second. They got back a second and cash in the PJ Tucker swap, and now they got back cash here. I feel like, I don't know what James Wiseman is as a basketball player right now. I think my first gut is this is as much of a flyer as the Kira Lewis thing. I've mentioned before that in order to play in Darko's system, you have to be a super high IQ basketball player at the big, right? So Chosen saying, if you like Ulrich, just wait. You know how I said there was a comment of the day? This is the worst comment of the day. Do not compare my Cameroonian goat, Ulrich Shamshi, to James Wiseman, bro.
The Toronto Band-Aids is a goated new name for the team. Shout out Nameless.
He is only 23 and he's a former second overall pick, and he was one of the top. Look, I'm not gonna do that thing where I trash a player on their way in, because I think it just sets a really bad precedent. So let me try to be optimistic and say, if there's anyone who can rehabilitate James Wiseman's career, it is the Toronto Raptors. Achilles tears are not what they used to be. He is a very bursty athlete, and he's a player that, frankly, had he been drafted to a team head coached by Darko Rajakovic, That would have been great. I want to also mention, because I believe in peppering in the gaps that maybe other people will miss, John Mamalalela knows James Wiseman very well.
Yeah.
Very well.
He was there in Golden
So-
State.
Hmm?
He was there in Golden State when they drafted him, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. So if there's anybody who has that sort of familiarity with James Wiseman, who can work out, what needs to be filled in with him, it's probably Jama. And I think with Darko here and Evo here, they can actually rehabilitate some of his value. He's on a minimum contract. He is on the fringes of being out of the league. So you are taking a flyer on him, just like you took a flyer on. And I mean, just because you tore your Achilles, by the way, what was it, the beginning of the year? So he could already be like halfway back from that, right? There's not anything stopping you from trying to develop his basketball IQ right now.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you from developing some of his skill work right now. While he cannot do contact at all, there's nothing stopping you from making him a better read and react passer right now. So I don't hate this for the Raptors at all. I feel like if we just got cash, let's just say what I was saying earlier was that you can take up to $7 million. I'm going to assume they took at least $2 million to eat this $2 million contract.
Yeah.
Right. So if we just got him for free, basically, this is a flyer. You bring him into your organization. You try to see how receptive he is to coaching. You try to see if there's some sort of untapped potential. I believe the bigs sometimes develop late. If this is your Hassan Whiteside situation, then you have gotten a steal here. The most likely outcome for this is the same outcome that was with Kira Lewis, which is this is a bust. He's a bust for a reason. He's busted in 3 different situations now. He's been to Detroit. He's been to Indiana. 3 different teams have brought him into their organization and decided this isn't worth it. Okay? 3. And
Yep.
2 of them are pretty good. The Warriors and the Indiana Pacers. So right now you have come to Toronto in the same capacity that Anthony Bennett came to Toronto, which is, let's see if there's anything in this completely dead career. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Watch you give all this analysis and they just turn around and cut him. That'd be so.
Well, that was exactly how I felt when they traded for Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yes.
I was like sitting there like, all right, he can create, he can do some stuff. He's a real NBA player. And then reportedly at the time, Dennis Smith Jr. was also in that deal, if you remember. And I was like, he's a great defender. And then the report breaks. Spencer Dinwiddie is being waived, and Dennis Smith Jr. was misreported as being part of the trade. And I was just like, fuck. Okay, cool.
It will always be Drew Eubanks for me. I was so excited about Eubanks, and then
I was so excited about Drew Eubanks too. Mofos. Okay, I'm gonna put James Wiseman's career on the screen. Put your kids away. Anyone with small children in the room, this is not pretty. It's okay. 31.7 PER in 1 game played. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain. The analytics are definitely lying to you on this one, though. I promise you that. Okay, with Detroit, he played 24 games. He started 22 of them. In 25 minutes per game, he averaged 13 points. He averaged 8 rebounds. He averaged nearly a block. 17% from 3. There is some 3-point shooting upside with him. It's not great, but it's not like his jump shot's broken, right? He's consistently been close to 70% from the free throw line. He has some work to do around the elbow line extended. Okay, Recruiter Dude is here to talk some sense into us. What's up, Recruiter Dude?
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
What's good?
I won't be on long. I got to pick up my son in like 20 minutes, but I wanted to ask like the panel if now that Boucher is probably going to stay, bar any announcements, I'm thinking now you basically have to load manage Scotty and IQ, which they're already doing, and you have to give Boucher a chance to earn another contract because that's not fair to him. And I'm perfectly fine with that, because like we can't afford him. I don't think he's going to sign for a cheaper deal. and this team is already very expensive, very expensive.
I think what you just did over the last couple of weeks is you gave him a very beautiful exhibition or chance to exhibit his skills. He is currently a 2.7 box minus. I think he has elevated himself above the he's a minimum player conversation, but I still don't believe the Raptors can afford him. I think Chris Boucher is a pretty solid player, and I think that Chris Boucher is probably already talked with the Raptors about potentially an extension in the area of maybe 16 million for 2 years, or maybe
No, we don't. But we don't have that. I don't think. Do we? I was just looking at the cap now.
It kind of depends on what else you do with your roster, to be honest.
PJ walks, right? Assuming he walks.
Yeah, so PJ
3.5
walks.
million.
Yeah, PJ walks, and then let's say Boucher walks. Then you're like, what are you? I think you're just under 10 million below the first apron, right?
Sure.
Okay. So you can give, I suppose you could give that to Boucher, or you could keep it for
Keep in mind, BI is also going to get paid.
No, assuming he comes back for 38, or something like that.
I don't think.
Well, I talked about front loading the contract, which really does put Zal with the weirdest reaction. We got Wiseman, bro. Small caps that. Please small caps that. Okay. Why not saying James Wiseman is 4 years away from being 4 years away, basically? Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. The Chris Boucher thing, it's like there's bigger things on the market right now. There's bigger things on the docket right now than worrying about Chris Boucher's next contract. I think the Raptors have been more than fair putting him in a position to kind of exhibit his skills. I don't think, it's necessarily fair to Chris. Okay, fine. I don't think it's fair. You could also buy him out, by the way. That is an option, and you can allow him to just go to a contender that way just because you weren't able to make the deal work. I understand he's a fan favorite, but realistically, like, he's 32, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think he's 32 years old, and your roster is about to get hella expensive next year. Hella expensive.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to give the fans something, because I don't think Scotty should play the next 30 games, like every game. I'm dead serious. Like, I think it's completely pointless.
I mean, if he takes 12 threes a game and shoots 26%, he can play as much as he wants, not helping winning at all. I mean, I'm be honest, like yesterday, the Raptors were in that game almost in spite of Scotty. He was not positive at all for them yesterday.
But at some point, isn't it a reputation thing, though, for him?
For Scotty?
And the Raptors, too, to, like, asset management, right?
Well, he's not an asset you have any intentions of moving. So what does it mean? What does it matter that you know?
I mean, we've seen what this franchise has done with Siakam when he had a bad playoff run. They're already tearing him apart every chance they get.
Okay, I think it'd be very, very important to differentiate between this franchise and this delusional ass fan base. That's different. This franchise understood why Pascak Siakam struggled in the bubble. He was coming back off of a very extended period without playing basketball and was dealing with the emotional turmoil of a lot of uncertainty in the world. And it was just a human being who really, really values certainty. I mean, you're seeing what he's doing in Indiana. Why? He has certainty. He's welcome. He's wanted there. And there's nobody looking. He's not looking over his shoulder wondering when he's going to get traded. I'm telling you, there's certain people in this world that deal very well with uncertainty. And as someone who does not deal well with uncertainty in most areas of my life, I can tell you it's a work in progress. So to the point of Scotty Barnes, look, reps are important. There's a rhythm to being the type of player that they're trying to make Scotty, right? The guy who can pull up, jump shot, etc. There's not reps that he's ever received at any other point in his life. Being a high volume 3-point shooter off the dribble is a very, very strange thing to kind of get into. You sometimes, like, I've watched players that just learn something new, and when they're trying to implement that new thing, you can see them counting the steps. I'm just curious if any of you guys have played sports.
Yeah, we saw that with OG.
Yes, OG is a perfect example of that, where you teach him that sort of step, drag, step, finish. And you can see when he's doing it really in real time, his brain is processing that like a little, Pentium 2. Like step, and then step. What was it supposed to do next? Step, finish.
How
Right?
pressure was to me.
So the more you do it, especially against different competition, the more you see the ball go in, the more you can review film of you doing it, the better it is for you. So right now, very important to develop chemistry. Chemistry in lineups that stand no chance. How do you do that? Easy. You have 5 rookies. That's how you do that. So you want to develop chemistry between Scotty, Grady, and Brandon Ingram. Let's say, for instance, great. And put them out there with Ulrich and Jamal Shed. I mean, that's scary because that lineup actually could win a lot of minutes. So yeah, maybe you need to sign a 10-day to like some really, really terrible players, and just so you can play them. Like maybe we need to call up Malik Williams and ask him what he's doing right now. Maybe call up Jonte Porter, see if he's played basketball in a little while. Between the federal court cases, can you come back and drop in the gym? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it will take some strategic, tanking to do this, but I don't think you should necessarily waste these game reps. I also wouldn't mind staggering Brandon Ingram so that he has a chance to play, and then maybe having Scotty play the next game or something like that. Like I hear what you're saying, recruiter dude. Like we're gonna have to be strategic about this, but I don't think this means okay, Chris Boucher, go play as many minutes as you want. I don't think that's it. Yeah. Coda Red saying get super fan on the court. Shout outs to Nav Bhatia, man. Any major thoughts? Recruiter dude, your first super chat yesterday was why for Brandon Ingram. Are you feeling a little bit better about it today?
I'm not a huge fan of his, but like it's okay. I kind of like talked myself into it.
Okay. I hope I gave you a little bit of a Scotty assist on that one. Zal123 saying, Pen, is there still a part of you that's still a Knicks fan? No, I think that boat sailed when the Raptors faced off against the Knicks, and I need to make that. So I had that sort of existential crisis of who do I root for, and it's like, yeah, I had to root for the Raptors, and from that day on till this day, I have never really wanted the Knicks to do better than the Raptors. Of course, if the Knicks are in a playoff series against the Pacers, I'm rooting for the Knicks. If the Knicks are in a playoff series against Boston, I'm rooting for the Knicks. But I'm not a fan.
If I can be honest with you, if IQ wasn't so hurt this year, I mean, this is recency bias, I suppose. It definitely is recency bias. But if he was like a contributing player, I'd feel better about this Ingram trade. Because it's like now we're sort of like you coined the phrase like you have to, what was it, balls of steel, or like you have to be willing to take a risk. I mean, it's a risk. Like we're kind of in risky territory right now. I'm not saying these contracts are unmovable, and I'm sure Bobby and Masai believes that they're movable down the road, and they are.
Mm-hmm.
But
can you think of a player that you could have traded for that wasn't a risk at all?
No, there's some degree of a risk, but it's just
okay. I'm saying like safe relative to Ingram. What was the player that had the upside potential of Ingram without the downside risk of Ingram? Can you think of a player that meets that?
Well, you had a whole live on Booker.
Mm-hmm. But you're not getting Booker for 1 first-round pick.
No, but the funny part is I really love the creativity like you put behind it and the work you put behind it. But then, you have like that cynical side that sort of like it turns its head around in your subconscious, and you're thinking to yourself, like, why would Pat Riley want Emmanuel Quickley? Because I wouldn't want Emmanuel Quickley right now. And again, it goes back to recency bias, but it's like Emmanuel is a question mark. And I know we give him the benefit of the doubt. You do on this channel, and he deserves the benefit of the doubt. But this has been an albatross. He's looking like an albatross contract right now. Okay, so yes, he needs the time to get better, but this is a $30+ million player that just hasn't played, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you have Ingram, who has a history of injuries. So it's just like there's levels of risk. This is risky. This is an expensive team that on paper looks good, but how many times have we said that? I don't know.
Sure.
I'm not
Bleacher,
trying to like poo-poo it. Like we're kind of late in the day now, but
can you take a moment to just appreciate this graphic by Bleacher Report?
yeah, I know.
Is that an all-time record? I'm wondering how many all-time records are being set here. Dennis Schroeder, 4 teams in 24 hours. PJ Tucker, the same team 3 times across 3 decades. Which one was the record? Okay, so again, I feel like I'm gonna be crying into the, I was gonna say crying into the wind. I realize I'm sort of talking about like pissing into the wind and crying in a room by myself here, and I just merged it into one thought. But realistically, at this point, I feel like the sentiment around Emmanuel quickly is this is a bad deal, and my reaction at the time was fuck, right? So I'm inclined to say, and that was before I found out that it was flat. Worth noting. The minute I found out it was flat, I calmed down. I measured myself a little bit and I said, okay, I get it. It's totally fine. It's a 5-year deal. Trust his work ethic. You have him in your gym. I think he's going to be fine. I think depending on what you wanted Emmanuel quickly to be, this deal is either making you cry or, you're perfectly fine with it. I don't think anyone is dancing. I'll tell you that. I don't think anyone's dancing. I don't think anyone's victory lapping like, oh my God, we got this guy. And he's been injured like 3 different times or 4 different times, and he hasn't looked great, and he has decision-making issues, and et cetera, et cetera. But I also don't think it's like a cause for panic. I don't think he's an albatross at all. I think he has a lot of believers around the league, and if you really, really want to move off of him and things go really south, this is the type of player you move for a first-round pick and you get back in expiring. This is really not a huge, downside loss. Of course, it would suck for the Raptors that one of the key pieces, if not the key piece you got back for OG Anunoby is a negative asset. That would suck, right? I think IQ's shooting alone makes him worth at least $22 million. I think the youth bridges another $5 million into that. And I think the fact that he is a halfway competent defender, at least in theory, has participated in reasonable defensive schemes before, and his versatility, sort of on-ball, off-ball stuff, can make up for the other 5. So where you're getting upside on this contract, I have no idea. Like, when I think about it, I'm like, could I see a world in which $32 million ever feels like a steal for Emmanuel quickly? It's a hard world to envision. But I also don't see a world in which, oh my God, we got 4 more years of this bum on our... I don't see that either. So I'm just not as low on Emmanuel quickly right now. I would never consider him an albatross contract. I really do trust his work. I really do trust him. And I just think he's in a really, really terrible situation right now. And I think with Brandon Ingram, he's going to be in a beautiful situation. I think it immediately gets better for him. Yeah. Andrew saying, Grizzlies got Johnny Davis too. Well, let me plan the fucking parade. That's why you don't mess up first round picks, man. Top 10 pick. Johnny Davis. I'm just waiting for the all clear from, Michael Granger, somebody saying the Raptors are done. But if anyone else has anything to add, I'm happy to hear it.
Sixers, Chuma Okeke, 10-day contract.
Wow.
Do you follow NBA Underdog on X?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go look. They just posted something of everybody who was traded at this deadline. It is a long, long list.
Okay.
It's pretty cool to look at. I'm sorry.
Who has their speaker on?
Is that better?
Check. Nope. Okay, it was you, Lane. Okay. El co-host. I'm just kidding. Shout outs to Lane for sort of leading the segment while I had to go to the washroom there. All right. So NBA underdog. So underdog NBA. All right. Let's just check it out. Wow. Holy shit. Okay, let's read this out. This is nuts. So this trade deadline. Okay, we got Lane back. What's good? What's good?
Yo, my bad. Is it working now?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, I have no clue why I wasn't before. My bad.
Okay. So this trade deadline, holy shit. Luka Doncic to the Lakers, Anthony Davis to the Mavs, Jimmy Butler to the Warriors, De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs, Zach LaVine to the Kings, Brandon Ingram to the Raptors, Kyle Kuzma to the Bucks. I'm sort of wondering if they sort of descended this list in terms of importance of players. And I'm a little bit pissed off that Brandon Ingram ends up being lower than Zach LaVine, but sure. Okay. At least he's not lower than Kyle Kuzma. Okay, Kyle Kuzma to the Bucks, Andrew Wiggins to the Heat, Mark Williams to the Lakers, Chris Middleton to the Wizards, DeAndre Hunter to the Cavs, Jonas Valanciunas, former Raptor, shout out to the Kings to form the Lithuania double, Twin Towers up there. Bogdan Bogdanovic to the Clippers, Dalton Connect to the Hornets, Marcus Smart to the Wizards, Kevin Porter Jr. to the Bucks, Jericho Sims to the Bucks, Patrick Baldwin Jr. to the Bucks, Zach Collin to the Bulls, Kevin Huerter to the Bulls, Trey Jones to the Bulls, Drew Eubanks to the Clippers, Patty Mills to the Clippers, Marjon Beauchamp to the Clippers, Johnny Davis to the Grizzlies, and Marvin Bagley to the Grizzlies, Karis LeVert, Terrence Mann, George Niang, Bones Highland to the Hawks, Davion Mitchell to the Heat, Yusuf Nurkic and Cam Reddish to the Hornets. Good deal, man. Good deal for them. I like Cam Reddish. I don't know why they traded him. Okay. Jalen Hood Schifino and KJ Martin, Josh Richardson to the Jazz, Jake LaRavia to the Kings. Good addition for them. DeLon Wright to the Knicks. Good addition for them. Maxi Kleber plus Markieff Morris to the Lakers. Caleb Martin, Max Christie to the Mavs. Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk. Pour one out to the Pelicans. Dennis Schroeder, Lindy Waters III to the Pistons. Kyle Anderson to the Raptors. That is a mistake. What the fuck are you doing, underdog? Correct that. Okay, Kyle Anderson. Actually, where did Kyle Anderson end up? Detroit? Oh, Miami. Okay, Kyle Anderson to Miami is correct. James Wiseman to the Raptors. Jaden Springer and Cody Zeller to the Rockets. Quentin Grimes to the Sixers. Underrated ad, actually. Jared Butler to the Sixers, Jordan McLaughlin to the Spurs, Micic and Cody Martin to the Suns. So Kobe Jones and Alex Len and AJ Johnson to the Wizards. So Alex Len got moved, I think, from Sacramento, right?
Yeah.
Okay. PJ Tucker to half the NBA. That's funny. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. That's funny. Okay, so PJ Tucker to the Raptors. Daniel Tice traded and waived. Reggie Jackson traded and waived. Mo Bamba traded and waived. City Sissoko traded and waived.
I can't believe there was 60 players traded, or was it over 60? And the Nets did nothing. Unless I missed something.
Nuts. No, the Nets did
like
nothing.
They did absolutely nothing, and that's very perplexing.
That is nuts. Yeah, they should have. They definitely should have moved Cam Johnson. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, if they were holding out for multiple firsts, I think the injury history. I just think, what's interesting is, we talk about setting a market, setting a trend, setting a price. I feel like that Luka deal sort of set a very weird price in the new NBA. Right? I think, when you only get one first round pick for Luka Doncic, like imagine if that deal had included 5 or 6 first round picks in Anthony Davis. I feel like that kind of sets a different market level for Ingram, where Ingram's agency and maybe even, David Griffin is like, well, Luka just went for Anthony Davis and 6 first round picks. You're not getting just 1 first round pick. But I think this, we saw a very few number of deals that involved multiple first round picks going out, which I thought was interesting. We didn't see any like 3 and 4 first round picks going out. Like the only deal that even remotely included that many first round picks, if I recall, is the De'Aaron Fox Zach LaVine swap, and even that, it's like a fake first round pick. Yeah.
Do any of you guys know when Ingram's supposed to do his whole media thing?
I can check with my buddy, see what he says.
You think he plays tomorrow against OKC?
Not a chance.
No.
They would never do that. No.
First impressions matter a lot. They're hard to shake. And if your first impression of him is against the Thunder and he has a bad game, oh boy.
I also believe first impressions matter. When Darko Rajakovic was hired, I made a really, really, really big point to make sure that people understood, the 0.5 offense, his extensive pedigree, just because I think that the first thing you hear about a person can have a lingering impact, or the first impression. So if Brandon Ingram, in his first game with the Raptors scores 35 points or something like that, I think people are going to have a pretty favorable impression. I think even people who remember that game with the Pelicans where, they beat the shit out of the Raptors last year probably have a pretty favorable impression of him. So, yeah, I mean, I think making sure that because I don't know did y'all catch Josh Lewinberg?
I did
his reaction to this.
I heard him groaning and moaning. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my reaction to that is that's a really good reason to be pro this trade.
I'm pro this trade anyway,
Okay,
man.
but hang on. Sorry, playing devil's advocate, is he wrong? I don't like him, but is he? How wrong do you think he is?
I'll see your challenge and I'll raise you a challenge. Can you tell me last time he was right?
Okay, but just stating a fact.
No, hang on. Anyone in the chat, when is the last time Josh Lewinberg has been right about anything to do with basketball? Please help me.
Rob, what did he say?
Okay, so he says, can you tell I'm not a fan of this deal? And I wrote, this is a very good reason to be a fan of this deal. Don't ever tell me that I'm not funny. Fuck you. Okay. So people tell me like, yo, Rob, you need to be funnier. Fuck you, man. I'm low key funny. I have my moments. Definitely have my moments. And this tweet is definitely one of my funnier ones. Sorry. I'm just reading that back and I'm just like, yo, I'm reading it in my voice. And I'm like, I meant that exactly how it sounds.
You think he saw that? You think he saw that?
Absolutely saw that.
He just freaking read it. He's like, damn.
Oh my God. Okay. Is he wrong? Okay. So I listened to his reasoning. I'll give you his reasoning. Okay. So his reasoning. Did anyone see this, by the way? I'm such an idiot. I'm not even. Sorry. I'm having like select.
I love Bobby Webster.
Here. So yeah. So this is the response to this. Shout outs to Mark. Known him for like, I think 15, 18 years now. It's always wild to see people who follow me through different areas of my life and stuff. It's really cool. Raptors media needs to get traded. Can't stand them. LOL. Oh my God. I think Josh just hates the Raptors at this point. Jesus Christ. Okay. So here's the thing. What was his reasoning to answer your question, Recruiter Dude? Is he wrong? I'll put on my serious face for this answer. Let's entertain a world in which Josh Lewinberg is right about a basketball take and I'm wrong. Okay. So his point was that Brandon Ingram is potentially expensive, injury prone, and that the Raptors are supposed to be tearing it down and not costing themselves the potential chance to Cooper Flag. That ultimately all of this screams, and he also reiterated, I don't want to play his clip just in case somehow that ends up getting me a copyright strike, because he puts the phone to the black SUVs like, get this guy out of here for 90 days. He said, everything we've heard from the Raptors is patience, preaching patience, and this seems to go counterintuitive. This runs counter to that message. That ultimately, a move like this signals not Cooper Flag, but rather Scotty Barnes. Essentially, reading between between his tone, it's kind of like, hey, are you really going to cost yourself Cooper Flag for Brandon Ingram? First of all, one, he's wrong on the fundamental basis of what he's saying, because Brandon Ingram is probably not going to play a hell of a lot for you this year. At least that's the read I get on it, obviously.
Agreed.
Number two, the players that went out in these various deals, Davion Mitchell, not Chris Boucher. So, salute Chris, you're back. Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown are the entire reason you're playing. You were playing well in the first place. If you want to look at the single game box plus minus and the advanced box score of those games that the Raptors won, go look at the games in which those three guys specifically, and Chris Boucher as the fourth guy and Jakob Poeltl as the fifth guy, were your biggest contributors to the winning. So now at this point, hit pointer Jakob Poeltl to me is signal for done for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Okay. You're not winning these games because Brandon Ingram is so great. Like, you're just not. Like, I'm sorry to tell you, he's not. You didn't just trade for Luka Doncic. He's not going to come in and immediately just like be like, okay, well, we're losing these games, but now we got Brandon Ingram, so now we're winning them. No, you have to be in those games. And Brandon Ingram hasn't played basketball. He hasn't played 5-on-5 basketball for 2 months. So he has a ramp-up process during your toughest stretch of games. Now, so you know what I mean? Like, immediately, this is your having your cake and eating it too. The other thing that Josh seems to not understand is that the Raptors are not a free agent destination. They're not a free agent destination. So if you decide this summer that you do get a Cooper Flag and you're like, oh shit, we got Cooper, we got Scotty, we got RJ, we got IQ, let's go get that fifth piece. You have no avenue to get that fifth piece because you're not a free agent destination. So you're not going to be able to leverage all this cap space that you're going to open up anyway. So now it's like, what use is there being above the cap but below the tax? This gray area that typically it just doesn't work for you. That's kind of where I'm at.
Agreed. That is great analysis.
Yes.
I also think you stack talent and you let it work itself out.
Yes. And I mean, like, whether you're talking Ace Bailey, Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper, AJ DeBonsa, whoever the hell you're looking at, those players are years away from being who they're gonna be, right? But
their impact, there's some of them where their impact could help you right away. Like, I feel like Cooper Flag and maybe a Ron Harper could contribute to winning their rookie year. Not that they're going to be their final form or anything, but they could contribute to winning in a positive light their rookie year. But I mean, it's not guaranteed.
Even LeBron James was barely he wasn't like an overwhelming positive until his second year.
Right. But he also was by himself. Like, you're coming into a situation with a decent, probably I would say a top like 8, 9, 10 starting lineup in the NBA at this point.
Right. I mean, look, I think you look at the Raptors' history with free agency. DeMar Carroll, Hedo Turkoglu,
Dennis Schroeder,
Jason Capono. Like, the list is long and it is forgettable. It's a bad list.
It's a terrible list.
Right. These are horrible names. Landry Fields, in order to cock block the Phoenix Suns or, just stupid, the Knicks. These are just stupid deals. And they have backfired horribly, right? They all have, almost all of them. I cannot think, even Otto Porter, who I was super excited about.
Linus Kleiza.
Sorry?
That's it, Linus Kleiza.
Linus Kleiza is another one that, did not work out very well. So,
every single player that you've ever brought into this franchise that has had a positive impact has either been through draft or trade.
Fact.
Turkoglu.
Yep. We mentioned Hedo Turkoglu. Did we mention Hedo Turkoglu?
Yeah,
I was thinking about Hedo Turkoglu. I don't know if I said it.
Yeah, you did. I don't understand why you don't. Like, if one of these pieces doesn't fit, guess what? You move off of them. Like, RJ is no longer a toxic asset. Congratulations. You have to make this fit around Scotty. This is obviously who's going to fit around Scotty. If Brandon Ingram goes out there and puts up 24, 25 points a game, but it's not an obvious fit because, he's taking a lot of shots, even though if it's efficient, he's taking a lot of shots and it's not within the flow of the offense, guess what? Now you just rehabbed his value. You can get another first back for him somewhere and a young player.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Malik saying we would have the same issues with Scotty and Pascal if we got Flag.
I don't think
I,
there's.
I highlight these comments. I highlight some comments specifically to shout out what a great thing you said. I highlight this one to show you what a terrible thing you said. Scotty plus Flag and Brandon Ingram is a dream. It's a dream.
Yes.
Defensively, offensively, this is a dream. You dream to have 3 players like 6'9" that can do this shit. How do you stop this? I'm thinking of this from the opposing coach perspective. Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, and Cooper Flag, and a 5. And that's assuming that one of those players doesn't play small ball 5 and 4. Do you know the versatility? Do you see the transition play? Do you see like the space? Like, do you? I mean, this is crazy.
Yep.
Like,
Can I say something, Rob? Yeah, I want to know if you agree with me or not. So obviously Kawhi Leonard was our best acquisition via trade. Would you not agree that Brandon Ingram is our second best acquisition via trade in Raptors history?
No.
Who else?
Kyle Lowry.
Oh, okay. I forgot. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But he got to be up there, right, in the top 5.
Oh, easily top 5. Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it works out. I mean, I was literally just talking about this the other day, and it was the Kyle Lowry thing. So I just want to share that post. I posted it on X, and I'll just read it out here for anyone who doesn't follow us on X, because you can't support Elon. I understand that. I get it. I'm on the fence myself, but every time I try to write something on Blue Sky, it's too short. I have to cut away so many words. Okay, so some of y'all who are channel OGs have heard this story before, but I'll share this with you here, which is that I will never forget the day the Raptors traded for Kyle Lowry. The Raptors had, wait, can you all see my screen? No, you can't. Shit. Here we go. So I'll never forget the day the Raptors traded for Kyle Lowry. The Raptors just seen their free agent dream target, Steve Nash, sign with Los Angeles for less money, scrambling to find plan B. I was playing basketball at U of T. I remember it very clearly. I remember the score. And during a water break, someone whipped out their phone and said, "Oh man, Toronto just traded for some point guard from Houston." My ears perked up. I closed my eyes. I muttered, "Please, God, let it be Kyle Lowry." And it was. I had been working on basketball data models, and according to my model, Lowry was not only a better player than Nash, he was actually the 8th best point guard in the NBA at the time. Now, it started shaky as hell, but man, I never forget that moment and how excited I was, because it felt like I saw the whole story of Kyle Lowry in Toronto. I saw the winner who didn't know how to win, the leader who didn't know how to lead, and I saw him mature through 100 different failures and challenges as he helped build up one of the most successful organizations in the NBA. Kyle was much more than the 8th best player in a data model. He was a culture builder and a habit builder. I see all of those things in Jamal Shed as well. I see it in how he leads, how he talks, and how he works. So I wanted to read that part because I thought, lately I've been writing really terribly. Like, I noticed that, my brain doesn't work right now, and I've been a writer my whole life. So that was one of those rare moments where I felt very lucid thought. And that memory does come back to me when I think about the best trade acquisitions in Raptors history. I know you probably would not consider this a trade acquisition, but Vince Carter for Antoine Jameson was also a trade.
Oh, yeah. Drafty.
Norman Powell be a trade too.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen Rose, Daniel Marshall, but they never made the playoffs. But I was happy with their first 5-game win streak back in the day. Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Peter saying Eric Montross. Rest in peace. Big Montross.
R.I.P.
Marc Gasol, Serge, Kyle. I think Marc Gasol is very, very underrated. I've heard some people, that swear they know basketball say that the Raptors could have won with Jonas Valanciunas. I disagree 100%. Okay, now I want to... You go ahead.
My fault. I was just saying Embiid would have eaten him up.
Facts. Okay, so Rob Esfandiar on Sam's pod said, "Why not keep Pascal if you were going to trade for an Ingram type player?" Thoughts? Agree? Disagree? Wagwan. Okay. Anyone else have any thoughts on this?
If no one
Highly
else
disagree.
Go ahead, Lane. What's up?
Does anyone else have a thought? I've talked a lot. I want to give someone else a chance to talk.
Pascal was checked out. We can see that multiple times. He wasn't buying into the Darko system. That's just my main reason for it.
I think he was bought in. I think he just knew that the writing was on the wall that he was gone. He did not play like he should have played. And if the Pascal, if situation aside, if you take the Pascal that's playing in Indiana right now and you put him on this team next to Scotty, this is probably one of the top 10 players that you want playing next to Scotty. Is current Pascal Siakam. However, were you willing to give him upwards of 45 to 50 million plus a year till he's 35? Probably not. I feel better giving Brandon Ingram as a 27-year-old that money.
Yeah, I mean, refer your eyes to the graphic on the screen. This is why that entire take by Esfandiar Bahani is cooked. You didn't just trade Pascal for I was going to say you didn't trade Pascal for Esfandiar Bahani. My bad. You didn't trade Pascal for Brandon Ingram. You traded Pascal Siakam for Brandon Ingram, Ochai Agbaji, and Jacoby Walter. I want to be clear about something.
Huge.
You traded a 30-year-old All-NBA player who was seeking a supermax contract, who felt like he deserved some sort of legacy franchise tag on this team as the first option, who was having a lot of issues melding into Darko's offense and routinely looked checked out defensively. You traded him for Ochai Agbaji, who's 24 and has been a fantastic revelation for the Raptors. You traded him also to tank last year because you weren't going to be able to tank with him. I want to be clear about that. You were not going to be able to tank. Now, whatever happened with that, fine. Okay, fine. But you weren't going to be able to get Scotty the reps in a contract year for Pascal without paying Pascal. You also got Brandon Ingram, who's 27 and therefore 3 to 4 years younger than Pascal. And oh, by the way, you got one of my favorite rookies in the NBA, 19-year-old Jacoby Walter. You know what I mean? And honestly, that pick was supposed to be 16. I don't know who they might have picked. I'm assuming they would have picked Jacoby at 16, 17, 18, or 19, but you can sell yourself on, they might have been able to swap picks or something, get Kalal Ware or something. You don't know. So my point is, here, you got 3 players for the price of 1, and they're all rotation players for you right now. I'm more than cool with this, and they're all younger. So in order to fully understand whether this deal, whether moving off of Pascal was a good move or a bad move, I will present each of you with one question. If the Indiana Pacers call you right now and say, we actually want Brandon Ingram and Ochai Agbaji and Jacoby Walter for Pascal Siakam, do you say yes?
No.
Anybody? Yes?
No,
I wouldn't
sir.
do him 1-for-1 for Ingram.
Okay, so that's just, right away. Okay, so let's say the Indiana Pacers get desperate. How many first-round picks do they need to attach to Pascal Siakam in order for you to budge on this deal?
Jarris Walker in a 2028 unprotected first.
No, I just want picks. I just want picks because I want something that is stable that I can measure. How many picks do they need to add to Pascal in order to incentivize you to trade these 3 players for Pascal straight up?
Unprotected 2028 first and 2 seconds.
That's all? Okay, cool. Mo, what about you? How many picks do they need to add to this to make it work? Or do they need to add picks?
For who?
If they want, let's say the Indiana Pacers call you and they say, we really want Brandon Ingram and Jacoby Walter and Ochai Agbaji. We're willing to give you Pascal Siakam back. First of all, are you saying yes to that?
No, I wouldn't say yes to that.
Okay. So now the Indiana Pacers say, okay, we understand you don't want that deal. How many picks do we need to add for you to say yes?
2.
2 first-round picks?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Death 4K. What about you? How many picks do they need to add?
Probably 2. 1 first and a second.
1 first and a second. Okay, that's cool. So for me, I probably am asking for 3 picks, maybe 4. So I might be a little bit higher on Brandon Ingram or Jacoby Walter or Ochai than all of you. But in terms of Brandon Ingram for Pascal straight up swap, I could see it making sense. I mean, yeah, you trade for the older player, but the more stable player, he has a legacy with your franchise. They're both going to make 40, 45 million. I get it. For the media that's upset right now that why would you do this. I think Brandon Ingram's absolute max upside is higher than Pascal's. I think the best version of BI is a better player than the best version of Pascal. That might be very, very controversial to some people, but I've watched a lot of basketball in my life to be able to tell you that one of these players is more talented than the other. One of them is way more effective than the other, but that's neither here nor there. So Jacoby and Ochai to me are like, I want these guys here long term. I like them both a lot. And if I was going to move off of Ochai, I would have moved off of him for a really reasonable first round pick. But if you're getting me to move off of, Jacoby right now, based on what I've seen from him, based on what I know about him, based on what I see him as, I'm going to need like 2 first round picks for that.
I got a question. Is Brandon Ingram and Pascal Siakam both 3-star scorers, or is one above than the other?
What is a 3-star scorer? You mean a 3-level scorer?
3 level, sorry, yes. 3. Are they both 3 level?
I think, yeah. I mean, technically, they are 3-level scorers. I think Brandon Ingram's. The reason I say Ingram is more talented is because he's more physically imposing. Like, I like to measure players not by makes and misses, but rather apex openness. Something that I like to think of is how open are you once you make your move and then you make your gather and then you release the shot. I rarely see Pascal Siakam very open unless he has a head of steam or he's playing in transition or whatever. When you ask Pascal Siakam, go create your shot out of nothing, it's usually a pretty contested finish, which is why, honestly, Pascal Siakam really struggled as a first option in Toronto. You were in the lottery a lot with him as your first option, right? So, or you were having a lot of disappointing playoff moments. And, so I just think, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this is I think Brandon Ingram, the best version of Brandon Ingram is better at carrying a bad unit of players than Pascal Siakam. Now, Pascal is obviously morphed into a much more effective 3-point shooter in Indiana, consistent, taking a larger chunk of his shots off of, assisted makes. Some people would argue, and probably rightfully so, that he's been the Indiana Pacers' best player, and therefore, as their best player, the fact that they're over 500 should speak volumes about how good Siakam is. He's also 30. So, yes, I do think there's a substantial difference between a 30-year-old and a 27-year-old. Also, I think it's worth noting, they were in the same draft. These are 2 players in the same draft. And, yeah, like, Ingram went second in that draft. Jaylen Brown went third in that draft. I have misstated many times that he went over Jason Tatum. I apologize. He went over Jaylen Brown. Someone corrected me on the panel today. I remember I messed up on that. Pascal went 27th in that draft. So, just something to think about. But yeah.
I'd even argue the best version of BI is something we haven't even seen yet. Like there is a possibility that scenario, which with Siakam, I think the best is we're either seeing it now or we've already seen it, in my opinion.
Sure. I agree with that.
And don't we got one of the best doctors in the league, and Alex McKechnie?
Yeah, he's one of the best trainers. Anyways, man, any final thoughts for any of you? I'm probably going to close up shop here. We're almost 4 o'clock. It doesn't seem like a Chris Boucher trade is going to break.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for covering.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks to.
I appreciate you on.
Yeah, thanks to all of you for coming on, man. Appreciate you. Okay, that's where we're at right now. Please, Lord, do not have gotten a copyright strike for that. Sorry, I'm like constantly paranoid about copyright. Okay. I feel like I'm almost inviting it into my life at this point. Okay, shoot. Gregory saying, are you disappointed? No, it's hard to be disappointed. I mean, the Raptors were active. Clearly, they pursued things. Maybe nothing opened up for Chris Boucher. I completely understand that, right? A little bit of a sore point is give a final Raps trade grade. So grading the Raptors trade deadline overall, let's see. Your total out. I mean, to let's just talk about what the Raptors gave up. Kelly Olynyk. Let's just lump all of this into one bucket, right? What did the Raptors give up? They traded Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, the Indiana first, top 4 protected 2026, a 2031 second round pick. I don't know if there's protections on it. They gave up, what else here? Sorry. That was the first deal. And they gave up Davion Mitchell. And they took back a bucket of cash, PJ Tucker, solid veteran, probably going to get waived, probably going to get bought out, Brandon Ingram, and a second round pick. I don't understand how you can be mad at that. Karen Hall with a really underrated point here. Maybe they just wanted to keep Boucher. He's tight with Scotty. Doesn't make a lot of sense that he went to the back last night. He wasn't injured. He didn't play, right? So Mr. Canada's saying J-Dub. What about J-Dub? Oh, James Wiseman. Okay. My boy James is about to prove everyone wrong. There's nothing to prove wrong, bro. So I mean, to put a context on it, you took 2 very often injured or misused number 2 overall picks. It's very interesting, actually. The Raptors took 2 guys back that are both number 2 overall picks that a lot of people had some super high expectations for in Brandon Ingram and James Wiseman. And what you're hoping is, I've talked about lottery talent. I've talked about like what you can do with that lottery talent. And I do think James Wiseman has kind of that lottery talent physical profile, at least from the perspective of physicality. The issue with James is he doesn't move very well laterally. Notice that but the Raptors like to play fast, and a big who can catch lobs is a spacing threat. If you can teach him how to pass, there's some shooting upside there. You might have gotten something for nothing here, or you might have gotten nothing, but it's still nothing for nothing. So it's perfectly fine. The James Wiseman thing doesn't move me at all. It's irrelevant. The second round pick sort of recouping that means, provided that the second round pick you got back in that Davion Mitchell trade was more valuable than the second round pick that you sent out in the Brandon Ingram trade, then you actually improved your pick equity, right? Like, let's assume, for instance, that the pick you sent out is 2031 top 45 protected, some bullshit like that. Like, let's say you put a bunch of impositions on it, but you wanted to throw that pick in the deal just so that the Pelicans could sell their fan base on, look, we got 2 picks. So many times the second round pick is just thrown into a deal just so fan bases have something to celebrate about, right? Dan said, I said this 2 years ago, that dude fits with Scotty. Oh, trust me, I've had many simulations through NBA 2K where Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes are on the same team. It's usually like really fun. He's going to be a great 2K player for y'all. Great 2K player. I wonder what his 2K rating is right now. Do the Raptors now have like 2 really good 2K players? I think Scotty's rating is like up to 88, 87, something like that. Anyways, the Raptors are a lot more fun to play with in 2K. That's the real winners of this deal, are not the Raptors, are not the Pacers, are not the New Orleans Pelicans. It's all the 2K fans. He's an 86. People saying he's an 86. Nice. So now you got an 86, an 85, and an 87. Big 3 loading. Big 3 loading. Love it. Yeah. I mean, overall, my grade would be B+, B, something like that. I think the Raptors get a B for the trade deadline. It's solid. It's nothing like, wow, I can't believe they pulled that off. Like, if you want to, wow, I can't believe they pulled that shit off. Well, I would say Jalen McDaniels is an A+ deal. Luka Doncic, from the Lakers perspective is an A+ deal. So what's the contention window for us? I would say probably you would look to make the playoffs next year, get as far as you humanly possibly can. You will see no tanking next year. I can tell you that. Unless something goes really horrible in Toronto, there's no tanking in Toronto after this year. They rebuilt this thing as quickly as humanly possible. And next year, I could see the Raptors being as high as a 50-win team, as low as a 38-win team. Either way, you're going to be in the play-in or the playoffs. So the window is there. Unless, I mean, I touch wood, unless one of your core 3-4 pieces or your, you know, your first round pick gets injured or something crazy happens or whatever. Because I mean, these things can happen in the NBA. Injuries are up across the league. So appreciate it. But yeah, I think the Raptors are looking to start next year. You have Scotty Barnes, right? You have Lachlan Quinn saying just joined in early over here in Australia. You feel like another move coming. I don't think so. I think at this point, it's 4:02 p.m. I've been sitting here all day waiting for a Chris Boucher, potentially a Chris Boucher deal. Big shout out to Kaja Murphy, who always is telling me, I don't want Chris Boucher traded. It's my favorite player. I don't want him traded. She was happy about the Brandon Ingram trade yesterday. So I know there's a lot of Chris Boucher fans in this community, and I'm happy for y'all. Me personally, I just don't think the Raptors can really pay him. So, and they're not going to go into the luxury tax for an unproven commodity. So it almost feels like, okay, you're going to play him and you're going to probably cost yourself wins because he's in a contract year. He doesn't have a contract for next year. And, you know, he's impactful. He helps you win right now. And he's a big. So I think for the Raptors, the path forward is definitely holding Jakob Poeltl out as long as humanly possible with that hip pointer, letting him know, like, listen, we don't have a serviceable big on the roster. Like, you just traded Kelly Olynyk away. Kelly Olynyk, Jakob Poeltl. Let's just say Jakob Poeltl is out for the next couple of weeks. Who's your starting center tomorrow? Orlando Robinson? Ulrich? Chris Boucher? Like, you're so small. And so you are basically constructing a way for you to never be able to win a basketball game because you will never be able to grab enough rebounds to win basketball games. Now, obviously, miracles happen. The OKC Thunder won games with Jalen Williams starting at center. So who's to stop you from winning games with Chris Boucher or Scotty Barnes or someone like that starting at center? I fully get it. I wouldn't be surprised if Brandon Ingram does come back. I wouldn't be surprised to see Scotty Barnes starting at center for you, you know, for a little bit. But I think the right move for the Raptors right now is to, you know, play the young guys, let Brandon Ingram have some time to integrate, take this summer, just like you took last summer, and really, really, really hone in on the chemistry between Scotty, Grady, Grady, BI and, you know, Jacoby, Scotty and BI, work on your 3-on-3s, do your practices, right? And with, you know, young bigs like Ulrich and James Wiseman and these guys, like, you know, just teach. It's all about teaching at this point. If you can teach Chris Boucher how to play basketball, you can teach James Wiseman how to play basketball. All right. I want to say thank you to all of you, to the 500, 600 of you. I realize we kind of had a two-parter here because ultimately, you know, the big move for us dropped last night. Usually these live shows average around 700. I think most people kind of read it on the wall. There probably wasn't going to be another trade or of significant consequence for the Raptors. So I have live streamed, I want to say about 10 hours in the last 18 hours between this and the panel. And yeah. So a little bit of empathy for myself here as I'm thinking, like, I'm really happy to be doing this, but I'm so goddamn tired right now. And I got a lot of work to do on Pen Dance. I want to say once again for the second time and probably the third time, this show is proudly brought to you by the Pen Dance Film Festival. Tickets and passes are on sale, including the basketball documentary, a beautiful basketball documentary coming to you on Sunday. definitely go check it out. The director will be here. Some of you have already gotten your passes. I appreciate y'all. Definitely come check us out for Pen Dance. I got a lot of Pen Dance work to do. I am not on the panel tomorrow, which is great because that'll free up some time for me to work. I will be on playback tomorrow from 7 till 9:30, and I will also be doing a live stream for the Raptors OKC. Maybe some of the pieces that came over will play, but I doubt it. So the Raptors are going to be depleted. So we'll do a delayed post game by maybe like 35 to 40 minutes tomorrow. But yes, from here on out, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. tomorrow, I have absolutely zero basketball commitments. And I'm going to use this time to work my ass off on Pen Dance because some of you have noticed that our website is super behind and does not have even the films up yet. So this is crazy. I mean, we're on February 6th. The festival happens February 27th. So I need to get my ass moving on that and, delegate like a boss. Cast 2929 with the clutch super chat. I appreciate you very much, man. Always. Thank you so much. She-Wolf saying, thanks, Rob. Rob's been killing himself to deliver great content for us. Please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate if y'all like and subscribe. Thank you so much. And Pepper Jack, $20 super chat. This is the third $20 super chat of the last 24 hours. Thank you so much, man. You keeping the lights on. Thanks for the live, Rob. I appreciate you, Pepper Jack. Thank you so much. Also, hang on one second. I just want to check something real quick. I want to say also thank you to Max. Great live as always for a $20 e-transfer. Appreciate you. And thank you to Garrett. Love you, Rob. Thanks, Garrett. With a $15 super chat. E-transfer. Thank you so much to you guys as well. Thank you to the super chatters. And I can't wait for Masai Ujiri to speak as well. I will be curious to see, when that presser is when that presser is happening. It's probably happening, I'm going to assume, today, tomorrow. I mean, we'll see. And whenever the presser does happen, I'll be very curious. I don't know if I'll be able to air it. Like I usually try to do that, but now I'm a little bit scared to air, something happening live on television. That freaks me out a little bit right now. So maybe I will sort of live react to it and y'all can just keep it on. So I'll have it on my screen, but y'all won't be able to hear it on my feed. So you'll have to watch the television while I do it, something like that. I just want to be, whoa, hold on. I think it's happening really soon, like in 20 minutes. Really? Oh. Is it? Are we sure? Well, do I have like necessarily a strong incentive to do a live watch along if I can't even air the damn thing? I don't know about that. I don't know if I necessarily want to be doing that. Let me see here. Grange. Where did you guys see that it's in 20 minutes? Is it Lewenberg? If I keep talking shit about him, will he block me at some point and then I won't have access? Okay. Okay, so deadline over. The Raptors are done. Chris Boucher remains in Toronto. He mentioned that 58 minutes ago, and I've just been sitting here waiting for a Boucher trade. Not plugged in, Rob. Okay, Barrett and Pirtle remain out for tomorrow's game in OKC. Quickly isn't on the injury report and should be available. So yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm not really seeing where this is. It's on Raptors channel, going live soon. Raptors channel. Okay, let me just see here. What I could do, actually, is I could let the audio play while the screen is covered. That I could do, and I could react to that. I think that's a safe, let's call it like a medium bet. Would that be a good idea? Let me see here. Oh, okay. It says scheduled for 3 o'clock. I mean, being very lawyerish about it, no, you can't. But being very lawyer about it, you can't. But I have streamed it before with no consequence at all. So I don't know. Is it worth it? I don't know. Yeah. Let me see here. Ardens is like the just talk over it a bit. Sure. I don't think the Toronto Raptors would issue a copyright strike for this. I personally, I don't think so. It was NBA TV that did it last time. Like, I don't think that's you know, I don't think that's going to be the same thing. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a screen here, and I'm going to take a 10-minute break. And when this thing goes live, I'll be here to react with y'all. I'm going to leave that on the screen. Hang on. Ideally, when it goes live, it'll be live. So whenever it goes live, it will play. Okay. I'm going to put this here as a just in case, and I'm going to write a little note. I just don't feel like starting another one, guys. Eddie Moosh saying, yeah, I don't think you'll get a strike for reacting to another YouTube channel. You can definitely get it. AG saying, just watched more Ingram highlights. I'm so stoked. Holy shit. Bill Simmons just gave the Raptors a D grade for the Ingram trade. Yeah, Bill Simmons is... Don't get canceled, Rob. Appreciate you, man. Okay. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to be back. I'll see you guys back at 4:30, and I'm going to put myself on mute. Yo, what's good? What's good? What's good? Okay, so I'm hearing that it might be a little while longer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end this stream and we're gonna start a new stream. It has already been set up. The link has been added. The graphic has been added. I realize that there are other channels that are doing this, so I don't feel as like, oh my god, it's just me. So hopefully we have no issues with copyright or anything like that. Hopefully Masai Ujiri or Bobby Webster or both, address the media. Probably, I'm assuming sometime before 5 o'clock. The second it starts, we're going live. Okay, on the other one. So just a heads up to everybody, stream on the other end. Probably gonna have to clip out like the last 30 minutes of this, which is just dead space. A big thank you to everybody who's been here. Want to give a big shout out to Zigsaw Puzzle saying, I got a good name for the Raps, Midas 5. I'm not sure I agree with it, but I do want to thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you for that. Midas 5. I think I gotta sleep on that one a little bit. And Lord knows I don't sleep. So I might get back to you in a couple weeks. All right. Okay, I'm gonna end this one and we're gonna fire up the popcorn and hopefully Masai Ujiri says something or Bobby Webster says something along the lines of or beyond the lines of we explored options. I mean, can I just do a mock version of what they're going to say just as a projection? We think Brandon Ingram's really talented. We'd love to fit with him and Scotty. We think we're ready to compete next year. We still consider this a rebuild. We're still focused on youth and development, but we love how Brandon Ingram fits in with all of that. Chris Boucher is a really vital part of our team. He's a huge part of our culture. Blah, 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 blah. We would like to thank Bruce Brown for being a consummate professional and gracing us with his cowboy presence. We would like to thank Kelly Olynyk for bringing some Canadiana to the north, and we wish him good luck on his next stop, which is the dumpster fire that is the New Orleans Pelicans. Pour one out for my boy Kelly Olynyk, man. All right. Am I getting funnier as the day goes on? Or am I getting funnier because I'm not sleeping? I don't know. Stop. Laugh my fucking ass off. Yo, I want to tell you something before we start the other stream or whatever, because I feel like I need to give y'all some value for actually sticking around to the 279 of you who didn't bail. I appreciate y'all. So I give you a very, very like brief foray into my, I want to say trajectory as a not as a content creator, but more like as a speaker and a podcaster. I've noticed that some of my favorite podcasters are funny. I've noticed that I am not. Okay. So I've been working on the rises and dips, right? If you've noticed the last two episodes on the panel, especially yesterday, I feel like I blended it up a little bit. I'm trying to get better at this. I really am. I'm not trying to stagnate. I'm obsessed with the craft. I do listen back to some of the episodes that I do. I do figure out. I do take notes. I'm very detailed about this. I want to be great at this. I really do, because the greater I am at this, the more enjoyable your Raptors coverage is. And you know what? What a joy it would be that after a tough loss, I could actually make you laugh 5-6 times in a night. That would be very valuable to me, especially and I think that would be valuable to you as well. So I'm trying to get funnier. I'm trying to take charisma training. Foop saying you noticing you aren't funny is pretty funny. I'm a little ironic that way. Calling Ron a masturbator is crazy work. Liam saying, wait, Rob, so the trade deadline is now? Well, I have a inkling that, the Raptors want to clarify what's going on with the final bits of this deal. Like, I would not be totally surprised if Josh Lewenberg is wrong. Like, I'm not saying he's wrong. If he's saying that they're done, it's probably because he got the all clear from somebody inside the Raptors locker room saying we're done making trades. But I think they want maybe to have a little bit more of a certain outlook on what they're doing with PJ and what they're doing with James before they address this. I mean, I think we all know what they're doing with. I'd be very surprised if Brandon Ingram is here today. I feel like that will probably happen tomorrow, but nice. What? We gave up a second round pick. What? I don't care if it's top 55 protected. It better be one of those top 55 protected or it does not convert. That's crazy. Yuck. Yuck, 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 yuck. James Wiseman is ass, okay? As much as I'm rooting for the guy, he's terrible. He's a terrible basketball player. So if you can rehab some of that, great. But you had to do it for free. And you helped the Indiana Pacers and you gave him a second round pick? Relax. It's top 55 protected. It better be top 55 protected indefinitely until like the next 500 years. Don't protections also... Yo, Drizzy, stop screaming in all caps. Relax. I'm saying anything of value here being given for James Wiseman is an insult to my intelligence. Okay? We got cash too. I mean, hey, in fairness, we did buy the 57th overall pick for $1 million. It's worth noting that you can always use cash to buy second round picks. That happens all the time. So top 55 protected doesn't really mean a hell of a lot. But I just feel like in this deal, we kind of get shit on twice. Like, why are we giving up anything to take on James Wiseman? I feel like we should be getting a second round pick, top 55 protected. I don't care, but they had to send something. Okay, then send a second round pick for a second round pick. Like, I don't... What year? 2085. I'm hearing it's 2085. 2085 top 55 protected for, top 55 protected. If it doesn't convert, it turns into a top 56 protected. If it doesn't convert, it turns into 2/3. If it doesn't convert at that point, it just converts into a thank you. All right. Have the Raps done anything since the Ingram trade? Yes, they did. They did a lot. They did a lot. You should scroll back and listen to this video. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. And the other stream says 4:35. I'll just keep pushing it up until the trade, until we get a firm. I'm assuming it's going to be 5 o'clock, guys, just to let you know. I'm assuming it's going to be closer to 5 o'clock. So I'm not trying to get on here and, talk till my face is blue. Like, I don't really feel like yapping right now. I actually feel like making some calls to people that might know some stuff so that I can share some stuff with you guys, i.e. Brandon Ingram wants to be in Toronto, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah. Davion Mitchell is gone. I mean, I'm going to give you a little bit. Anyways, all right. Talk to y'all later. Have a great one. And I'll catch you in the next live, probably in about 25 minutes. Peace.